any sound through my...
Good morning. Welcome to the 2019 American Junior Simmental Association North Central Regional Classic here in West Fargo. We're going to start out this morning with Class 1. We have 2 bred and owned Progress steers. One entry, number 142 by Corey Kirsten, born March 5th of 2018.
All right, well, folks, I had just a little technical difficulties to get started this morning. My one job was to turn Val's mic on, and I forgot to do that. He gave a great introduction to the show, and we're up here in Fargo, North Dakota, and would like to welcome all of you here to Discover the Thunder, the 2019 North Central Regional Simmental Show. It looks like a great event. Walking through the barns, the cattle look outstanding. We're starting our show here this morning. Our judge today is Randy Daniels from Georgia, and I'm sure we'll talk about that more as we go throughout the day. But we're starting on our bred and owned Progress steers here this morning. We got 2 entries in this class. An entry from Corey Kirsten from Gretna, Nebraska, and Tyler Loudon from Creston, Iowa. So 2 steers in this class. They're both March-born steers, and Corey's steer is sired by Hammer, and Tyler's steer is sired by Margin. They're both weighing, one's weighing 1155, and the other one's weighing 1165. So these are our 2 steers in our bred and owned division. And so this will also be our champion drive for bred and owns as well. So, Val, I think if you got your microphone on, I'd like to welcome you. I know Eberspacher Sales Management was a big deal getting live auctions here to broadcast the show, and I know he's sold some ad spots today, and we'll be talking about those folks throughout the day. So, Val, welcome to Fargo, North Dakota.
Thanks, Dustin. It's always great. We've got you folks that are watching are on our screen. We're going to first listen to our Judge Randy Daniels on these 2 steers.
Before we start talking about these 2 steers, I'd just like to say thanks for the opportunity to come to North Dakota. My wife told me, she said, "Now I hope you don't have to have an interpreter while you're up there." So bear with me. We're from Oklahoma. I go back to Oklahoma, and they still make fun of me. So anyway, thanks for inviting me. And I've talked to Karen and Kim and Carrie, and just so pleasant and so energized about your show that that's what it takes to put one of these on. Get back to the cattle. We get into this pair of steers. It's a good way to start because both of them are really, really nice, and both of them are going to be competitive later on in the summer. My assumption would be that those are probably state fair steers geared towards shows late in the summer, and they're pretty much on target to do just that. I see them as being close. I see them as being a lot alike. Both of them are really good lined. Both of them are good structured. Both of them just have a neat look to them as you study them from the side. I think the one that I've opted to use, the young man steer, is just a little stouter made. I get right in behind him, and you study him down his top through the center of his quarter. He's a little bigger bone, a little heavier constructed kind of calf than the one we have just behind him. Still one that can get out and travel, and the young man does a good job with him, as does the young lady that comes just behind. This one appears to be just a tick greener. With that, he doesn't read quite as stout as you study him from behind, but he's still real good lined, and he's good necked. Both steers will be real competitive later on. So a good way to start your show.
First in Class 1 is entry 148A.
All right, results of
by
Class 1, and also your grand champion bred and owned steer was Tyler Loudon from Creston, Iowa. Steer side by Brune Farms bull called Margin. And reserve champion was Corey Kirsten from Gretna, Nebraska, and a steer sired by Hammer. So that was your grand champion bred and owned and reserve champion bred and owned steer. Now moving to Progress steers. We have 3 entries in this class of steers that weigh 1010 to 1095. Steers from Leighton Hackett from Sauk Rapids, Minnesota, Molly Allen from Casson, Minnesota, and Cassandra Tweed from Beersford, South Dakota. So 3 entries in this class of Progress steers weighing 1,000 pounds to 1,100. So.
Dustin, as you see, you folks that are at home watching today.
Yeah.
Oh, you're good. You're just in my other ear.
You see on the bottom of your screen there's some breeders that have sponsored their live auctions broadcast here today. Beaker Sementals and Red Angus. Doug Beaker and his wife do a great job up there at Linton, North Dakota. They have a quality sale every year. They sell the cattle all over the United States, Canada, and actually semen and embryos in Australia also. Doug is very, very critical about what he wants to raise. He wants good uddered, sound, functional cattle, do a great job. These guys on Dakota Express, Wade Stagley and his family, Kevin Hansen, these guys are going to have their 16th annual sale this year. These guys put on quite a sale every year up there at Mandan and Kiss there and do a great job. I want to thank all these people for their sponsorship, and as these come along, I'll keep talking about them throughout the day, Dustin, but I tell you what, here in North Dakota, these guys all do a great job and promoting Simmental and raising a great set of cattle up here.
Yeah, definitely a couple of the premier bull sales in the state. So do look like we're getting a great crowd gathering around for our show here today. Like we said earlier, it's just a beautiful day here in Fargo. I think after the winter we've had, I think they finally have got all the snowbanks melted and onto green grass. So nice little rain shower last night, keeping it cool. And I tell you, the North Dakota Simmental breeders are definitely putting on a class act event here today. This has been my 3rd regional show that I've been to or helped with, and I tell you what, each one just kind of outdoes the other one. That everybody steps up their game, and just a great event for all the juniors. So.
Dustin, one thing that we'll say when we walked through the barn last night, nothing but good comments about how things have been run from the North Dakota Association to now the new director of the youth, Darla Agater, and her staff. Has been nothing but great comments, and I'll tell you what, it's pretty exciting for these kids. It's like it's got a new life back in them.
Yeah, Darla is definitely no stranger to junior shows and no stranger in how to get the job done, and she's definitely doing an excellent job. Looks like Randy is getting the steers all placed in this class at Class 2 of Progress steers. So here's Randy.
Nice trio of steers again. You know, in this class, first class, we had 2 steers that were very similar as far as kind, and in this class, we've really got 3 distinctly different ones. I think the calf that's going to lead off is going to win just because, first of all, I like his kind. He's extra stout. He's stout in terms of his rib shape. He's stout in the way that he's constructed. He's really big top. He's really, really thick-ended, but with that, he's one that can still get out and travel. You know, that steer's starting to get a little cover on him. You can see that, and as he's starting to push up a little brisket and he's got a little more cod fat, he's not going to be a heavyweight steer at his terminal end point, but he's sure going to be a nice one whenever that point is. Steer that comes second, I think, is one that with time and maturity and a little more feed is one that can be extra competitive. To me, he's not quite as stout in terms of muscle. You get him out on the move and he kind of wants to creep up in his top just a little bit, and he'll get in and under a little close behind as he goes away, but still an awfully nice kind of a calf. The third one's a little bigger frame, longer bodied, leaner made kind of calf than the two that we have just in front of him. Still one that's sound. He's attractive. He just gives up quite a lot of muscle shape and dimension to those calves in front of him. Nice set.
Placing first in Class 2.
Of Class 2, first place in that class was Cassandra Tweed from Beersford, South Dakota. Second was Leighton Hackett from Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. And third was Molly Allen from Casson, Minnesota. So now we're on to Class 3 of your Progress steers. In this class, these steers will range from 1,100 to 1,200 pounds. And 4 entries in this class, entries from Cora Shoneman from Ashley, North Dakota, Carissa Dougherty from Clearwater, Minnesota, Piper Bloom from Reliance, South Dakota, and Kylie Harriman from Parker, South Dakota. So 4 good steers in this class again here, Val.
Their new sponsor just popped up here, Kenner Semitoles and Wilkinson Farms. These two firms, long time breeders here in North Dakota. Kenners are pushing on 24 years, and Wilkinson's they're running up on 22 years of production sales. Well, I tell you what, you're going to see some really nice programs that they've had. You get to see them. I know the Kenners have just built a new state-of-the-art sale facility the last 2 years where they've had their sales, and it's really neat. Wilkinson Farms, they've had many bulls go into studs that have done a great job. So I want to thank them two sponsors for being part of this today, and we'll keep seeing them as they pop up throughout the day. We'll keep mentioning more about them. It's like they finally got to maybe their steers all rounded up here. I'd like to put a meter on old Chance today and see how many steps he gets in.
I dang sure think it'll probably be just more than a couple hundred. We probably need to be down walking right beside him after I ate that good breakfast here this morning at the hotel. So here's our Class 3 of Progress steers. 4 entries in this class. So
Bailey Livestock just popped up there. That's Scott Bailey and his family. They do a great job. Of course, Scott, they raised the heifer that was champion overall there in Minneapolis last year, purebred heifer. Bailey's Prophet Dream, shown by Sarah Sullivan. And they do a great job. You know, it's wet all over the country, and up there where Scott and Joey live, they're drier and dry. There's a pocket up there in North Dakota, it's just dry as can be.
Yep. They've been had decent snowfall, but now it seems like it's turned off. But the rest of the Midwest is definitely experienced an unnormal winter and an unnormal spring. So, but that's what makes agriculture fun, I guess. So.
Makes it interesting every day.
Yep. Here's our last steer going to be coming into the ring, and then our Class 3 will be completely set. So some of the sires that are representative here today are STCC Jack's Dream, Order, Man Among Boys, and WLE Big Deal. So definitely steers that come from all different types of breeding programs here today. So
looks like a pretty nice set of steers.
Yeah.
Weighing 1135 to 1175.
Set of steers that it's getting to where they're looking like market show steers. So have one more class of steers after this, and then we'll select our grand champion steer. So
Dakota Express, them guys just popped up again. Wade Stagley and Kevin Hansen, always good breeders. They've got a great bull sale and female sale every year in February, pushing on 16th annual. for those guys. You know, Doug Beekler's ad was just before that. Doug and his bride do an excellent job, like I said, selling cattle all over the country.
Definitely.
Nice crowd starting to accumulate.
One thing about it being middle of June up here in Fargo, North Dakota, you never know if it's going to be nice and hot or nice and cool, but definitely a nice cool this morning. Cattle look like they're enjoying themselves, and I'm sure the people are too, having to pull that hooded sweatshirt out. That they've probably gone through a couple of them this winter, worn as the weather that we've had. So.
Good looking striped deer coming around the corner there. People hopefully can see that there, and live auctions on your computer screen. These awfully nice deer walking out there.
That'd be from Kylie Harriman from Parker, South Dakota, with Holt, Mr. Maverick. Then coming around. And 510A is Carissa Dougherty from Clearwater, Minnesota. And our fourth steer in the lineup is 166 is Cora Schoeneman from right here in Ashley, North Dakota.
Nice set of steers. Edge of the West. These guys just popped up there on their sponsorship. Todd Fink, Fake Albert, and the kind brothers, they have done a great job. They sell about 75 bulls and 40 females every February in Mandan also. And these guys have been having sales for a long time and have done a great job. And I know Todd has been heavily involved here in the Semitol deal, and Fake Albert was on the board of trustees. Longtime families of the Semitol breeders, and I want to thank those guys for being the sponsor here today also. You get a chance, it's quite a run up here in February. If you ever get a chance to come up and go to some of those sales, you'll get to see them. Another one that just popped up, Ellickson Semitol. Terry Ellickson lives way up there, northern Minnesota. You talk about some, North Dakota. You talk about some rugged, good-made cattle, performance cattle up there. He sells 80 bulls and 40 females every year. Gary's, they had a female executive order daughter with Brian Sumner that sold down in North America last year for $40,000. Beautiful red female. I'll tell you what, Terry does a good job, and you like performance cattle. I'll tell you what, they're awfully good. We'll listen to Randy Daniels on this set of steers.
Man, that's a nice calf that's going to win this class. I got to warn you, young people. Now, I may pick on you and say anything to you, so you just kind of have to grin and bear it. I said, "Boy, that's a nice calf," and she's so into it. She just keeps going. I said, You're supposed to say thank you. I think so too." And she doesn't quite know how to take me, but I just have to warn you. That's just kind of the way it is, and that's why I enjoy this. But if I had that one today, I think I'd come in here with a big smile, confident smile on my face, and feel real good about his prospects, because that's a really, really nice steer. You know, you get one of these and you start nitpicking and talking about what you like and what you dislike, but really, judging for me, it's just kind of all gut instinct, and either you like them or you don't. And the first thing you see is what you don't like, and when that calf comes in, there's just nothing that jumps out that says I don't like this. To me, that's one that'll be competitive really late in the summer. It can be really competitive. Obviously, he's at a home where they can get him there, but that one's thick and stout and good looking and nicely balanced, and just a lot of good things. You know, from there it gets tougher. The black and white one's going to be a little bigger kind. Ideally, we'd change the way that he wants to push off behind. Kind of creeps up in his top just a bit, but I thought, you know, he's got the fewest faults for me of the three that we have left. We're going to have to feed him hard. He's going to have to be heavy when he gets to his end point, but he's got a nice look, and you're a good stick, and you'll have fun with him. You know, the third one, I thought, well, he's going to be third pretty handily, and then you get right behind him and you watch him as he goes away from you. He kind of wants to spraddle and get his rear foot outside of his body wall, and we'd sure change that, but I think he's better out of his front end, and he just reads a little thicker and stouter, got a little bigger top, going to be a real moderate kind of steer at his end point, but still one that's got some product to him. And then the one that we close with, good kind, in that he's long-bodied, he's thick, and he's stout. He gets a little wide up front. He gets a little coarse in his neck for me, and he doesn't travel quite as long and free and easily as some of those we have in front of you. Nice set of calves.
First in Class 3 of the Progress Steers, entry 160.
3. First place in class number 3 went to Cora Shauneman from Ashley, North Dakota, with Sinky Mr. Finn, 81F, sired by Jack's Dream. Second went to Kylie Harriman from Parker, South Dakota. Third to Piper Bloom from Reliant, South Dakota. And fourth place went to Carissa Dougherty from Clearwater, Minnesota. Now we have 2 entries in Class 4 of our Progress Steers that weigh over 1,200 pounds. First entry in this class is Tate Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois, with a Pays to Believe steer. And our second entry is Abby Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota, and her steer is sired by Monopoly. So 2 steers here in this class, and both weighing over 1,200 pounds, and these exhibitors doing a darn nice job with them.
Another sponsor again, Doug Baker. I just saw him come up again there, Dustin, doing a great job breeding cattle. We're grateful that these guys have made some really good Simmental genetics here in North Dakota.
Yep.
This is last 2 steers, right? In this division, then we'll have our champion.
Yep.
Champion Simmental steer.
Yep. Then we'll move into our bull show next. It looks like so. Have just a few bulls, and then I'm sure we'll be on to that great set of heifers. So, crowd is starting to continue to come in, and I tell you, just an awesome day here in Fargo. Awesome show so far, and I'm sure it's going to do nothing but get better once we get into them heifer classes. Here's Randy.
Kind of save those steers for later on in the summer, but this has been really good. This calf on the front end of this class, just like the one we had in the last class, a calf that's just going to be competitive wherever you take him. Again, one that's just right on target in terms of where he is in condition. If he's geared towards late summer, early fall, obviously you guys have done a good job with him as far as feeding him and handling him, because he's fresh, but he's bloomy. He's good topped, he's good structured, big ribbed, nicely balanced, just really nice calf that wins this class. Good calf that comes second. These calves like that, when you fall in class with one that can be really competitive, we get one that doesn't have quite as much style, quite as much look or balance. Sometimes they get a little overshadowed, but just talk about a real world kind of a calf. That one just kind of checks those boxes off. He's sound, he's big bodied, he's thick. Young man does a good job with him. Nice pair.
Class 4 results. First was this.
All right, results of class number 4. first place went to Abby Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota, and second to Tate Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. Now we're going to select your grand champion and reserve grand champion steer, and looks like we'll go and select a top 5 out of Class 2. Your first place steer there was Sandra Weed from Beersford, South Dakota. Class 3 was Cora Shoneman from Ashley, North Dakota. Class 4 was Abby Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota. And your second place looks like, you're all going to bring in your second place steers. Out of Class 2 was Leighton Hackett from Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. Class 3, Kyla Harriman, Parker, South Dakota. And Class 4, Tate Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. So,
sure not big in numbers, but a sure nice set of steers, Dustin. And it looks like these kids are doing a nice job taking care of these steers. This is kind of the time I get them steers shucked off and get that new hair coming back, and it's looks like they've got a nice set of them pulled together here.
like you say, just with just 3 classes, but I tell you what, 3 steers that are very useful, and Randy definitely is one of the premier judges on the national scene. That guy that you really know what he's thinking. He definitely describes cattle well, and more importantly, Val just works awesome with the junior members, and gives them some tips and gives them some encouraging comments definitely throughout the day, and just an all-around #1 judge.
Yep, does a great job. Here's Kenner Simmental popped up on our sponsorship 24th annual production sale coming up here in February the 8th in Leeds, North Dakota. I'll tell you a story about Roger. Do you remember the old show Boston Legal?
Yep.
And Denny Crane and his buddy would set up on their balcony and have a scotch and a cigar.
Right.
Well, Roger built a patio like that at his place.
There you go.
And I've always wanted to go back up there and have that scotch with him up there on top of that patio. But folks ever get to meet Roger Kenner, he's a great guy. They farm big, they run a lot of cows, and they do a lot of fun things. But they work awfully hard, but they like to have a lot of fun too.
Yep. I seen Ellingson Simmental's ad pop up there a little bit ago. A fun fact there, when I woke up that morning, I had the privilege of working their sale. It was 32 degrees below zero actual air temp when I jumped in my car that morning there the end of January. So thank goodness the wind wasn't blowing that day. But once we got in the sale barn, sale facility was nice and warm, and the coffee and the hot chocolate tasted extra good that day. So
there were some cold days for sales up here this year.
Yep.
Wilkinson Farms popped up there now on February the 12th. They're going to have their 22nd annual. Terry and his family work really, really hard at bringing a great set of cattle. They've sired lots of good bulls there in a lot of different studs all over the country. Bailey Livestock has popped up there now, and Scott and Joey, they do a really neat job of raising a great set of cattle. We had sold a flush on the mother, the heifer that won last year in Minneapolis that Sarah Sullivan showed, and she was sold a flush on that cow there in Denver, bring 14.5, and went to a really good breeder in Iowa. And I tell you what, these guys have just continued to make some really good genetics in this country. But I think Randy's giving these guys some tips. He's wanting to see them move a little bit more again here, as you can see, and 3 really nice big stout steers in this division. Here's Jazz out there carrying the banner. She's the president of the Junior Association, the National Junior Association here for the Seminoles. Kirsten, you talk about a hard-working gal. Tell takes great pride in this breed, and their family has. And her dad, Mark, was a great guy, and we sure miss him. But Kirsten, you talk about one that you want to get up and follow and get in her footsteps and we'll go with her. She'll wear you out, and I'll tell you. Good gal.
Yeah, she definitely, when they bring one to town, it's definitely looking at 12 o'clock. So Randy's giving them one more spin here, and I'm sure he'll be telling us the one that he likes this morning. But do have a great selection. Here's Randy.
When these calves are out here, the reason we made this second circle is the steer that won the second class. I like him a lot, and I said that a while ago when we had him in class. And he came in here a while ago, and he's pretty tight, and he just doesn't want to get out, and he just doesn't want to reach. And I may be too critical as far as feet and leg structure on these steers, but I can't help it. For me to like them, they just have to be really, really mobile. And I told her that steer tensed up, shortened up in the way that he moved, and that we were going to give him a chance, one more little circle. She's really a good hand. You know, sometimes you talk to these kids and it's just like they don't listen to a thing. She knew exactly what I was talking about, and you see her when they take off on this last lap, and she's out in front of him and pulling him ahead, and with that he reaches longer, and he just becomes a lot more attractive as he goes. To be honest, when he was in class, I thought, well, the steer show will be over. We won't have another one that'll rival him. And then the calf that won the third class came in, and he really does. You know, he's a sounder. He's a sounder version of the one we have just in front of him, in that he's better as you study him from his foot and his pasture and the way he flexes his hock and the way he reaches out of his front end. He's better in that regard than the one that we have just in front of him. He's not as neat-necked. He's probably not as thick right through his center quarter, even though he's still got plenty for me to keep him really competitive. But I really like the soundness in that calf that won the third class. And I just skipped you up here in front, but I kind of have to say things as I prioritize them. You know, that's still a good calf that comes up front. You got him too stretched out, and he's not looking his best right now. So you might just ease him forward about a half a step. I'm going to take one more look at these two that we've got just behind. Let's give these steer exhibitors a nice round of applause. That was a good show.
Randy giving his comments, and he'll go out and select the steer that he likes here this morning. So definitely working with the juniors, these three junior members out here this morning, giving them some pointers, and three excellent steers. Your grand champion steer comes out of class number 4, exhibited by Abby Schaefer of Delox, North Dakota. He was sired by Monopoly. So March steer that weighed 1240. Now pulling in is Tate Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. Your reserve steer came out of class number 3, exhibited by Cora Shauneman of Ashley, North Dakota. So North Dakota has your grand and reserve champion steers here this morning.
Two really nice steers, Dustin. They're powerful. They're well-balanced steers, and I'd say Randy hit them right on the head there. He got them taking steers that got something to them and still really attractive yet.
Yep. Now pulling in that second class was Kylie Harriman from Parker, South Dakota. So this will be for third overall now, is what Randy's selecting. As they take one last, another spin here. Third overall steer was came out of class 4, exhibited by Tate Sundberg of Arlington, Illinois. Steer sired by Pays to Believe. So now just down to our Class 2 and Class 3 people. Class 4, there was only two entries in that class. So 4th overall is Kylie Harriman from Parker, South Dakota, and a steer that's sired by Big Deal. Now coming in is Piper Bloom from Reliance, South Dakota. He's sired by Man Among Boys. So a percentage steer pulling in for your 5th overall spot. And Piper, that's round out our 5th hole in our steer show. Piper Bloom from Reliance, South Dakota has your 5th overall steer in our steer division. So your grand champion steer again came out of Class 4, exhibited by Abby Schaefer of Deluxe, North Dakota. Your reserve grand champion steer was exhibited by Cora Shauneman, also of North Dakota, down there in Ashley. So your grand and reserve champion steers both come out of the state of North Dakota. So
let's say that'd be pretty good, Dustin, for having North Dakota breeders bringing a nice set of steers like that out. Great opportunity for them right here. So I'll tell you what, looks like we're going to have just a short break here. For you folks that are watching on live auctions, we are going to probably get going back. They're going to take pictures of these steers, and I would imagine in about, let's say 5 minutes, hopefully 10 minutes at the most, we'll be on the bull division. So if you have you folks that are at home and have grandkids that are showing, you grandparents or even parents that couldn't make it here today, we've only got, looks like 6 bulls before we go into the bred and owned percentage division, or in between the cow-calf pair division. And then we'll be going into the, looks like we'll be going into percentage heifers bred and owned then. So, just a short break here. They're going to take pictures here of these champion steers, and then we'll be back here in a few minutes.
Bellevue, Ohio. C. Diamond Simmentals, Dawson, North Dakota. Cattle Business Weekly, Phillips, South Dakota. CHS Sun Prairie, Minot, North Dakota. CK Cattle Company, Highmore, South Dakota. Cobank, Greenwood Village, Colorado. Custom Solution Genetics, Mitchell, South Dakota. Dakota Express, Center, North Dakota. Dahl Farm Enterprises, New Salem, North Dakota. Dots Pretzels, Velva, North Dakota. Double J Farms, Garrettson, South Dakota. Eberspacher Enterprises, Marshall, Minnesota. Empty Nest Boutique, Cooperstown, North Dakota. Energy Transfer, Dallas, Texas. Equity Group, Des Lacs, North Dakota. Erdman Angus / Bar E Feeds, Lisbon, North Dakota. The Farm Forum, Aberdeen, South Dakota. First Community Credit Union of Fargo, North Dakota. Fleet Farm, Fargo, North Dakota. Giant Seeds, Wahpeton, North Dakota. Hall Stock Farm, Berthold, North Dakota. Heartland Cattle Company, Des Lacs, North Dakota. Hennessy Show Cattle, Des Lacs, North Dakota. Hubbard Feeds and Showright, Bismarck, North Dakota. The Illinois Simmental Association, Pontiac, Illinois. The Iowa Simmental and Junior Association, Rose Hill, Iowa. Jason Quant, Oaks, North Dakota. More sponsors, Kaler Cattle Company of St. Charles, Minnesota. Kenner Simmentals, Leeds, North Dakota. Klein Simmental Ranch, Russo, North Dakota. Klein Simmental Ranch, Herdsfield, North Dakota. M&E Cattle Company, Lemoore, North Dakota. McGill Farms, Verona, North Dakota. The McIntosh County Bank, Ashley, North Dakota. Meyer 7M Simmentals, Elgin, North Dakota. The Minot Vet Clinic, Minot, North Dakota. The Minnesota Simmental and Junior Association, Emmons, Minnesota. The North Dakota Simmental Association, Catherine, North Dakota. The North Dakota Stockmen's Association, Bismarck, North Dakota. Ottertail Power Company, Beulah, North Dakota. Pro Earth, Aurora, South Dakota. R&R Cattle Company, Chamberlain, South Dakota. Rockin' R Farms, Reedsburg, Wisconsin. Rust Mountain View Ranch, Mercer, North Dakota. The South Dakota Simmenteller and North Dakota Simmental Scene, Glenfield, North Dakota. The South Dakota Simmental and Junior Association, Aurora, South Dakota. Skoglund Cattle Genetics, Hecla, South Dakota. Sullivan Supply, Dunlop, Iowa. Sunrise Ranch, Lisbon, North Dakota. The Stockman, Pipestone, Minnesota. Transova Genetics, Sioux Center, Iowa. Travis Thompson, Oaks, North Dakota. The Tri-State Livestock News, Belfouche, South Dakota. Warning Cattle Company, Emory, South Dakota. Zimmer Family Simmentals, Clarissa, Minnesota. I believe we're now ready to continue with our show with Class 5, bred and owned percentage bulls. One entry in this class, 559A, exhibited by Hannah Tremaine, bull born March 15th of 2019.
Back on to our bull show. Here we're going to start with Class 5 bred and owned percentage bulls. And we have one entry in our bred and owned percentage bulls, so this will be our Class 5 and also our Grand Champion drive for percentage bulls. And entry in this class from Hannah Tremaine from Okanawaka, Wisconsin. This bull calf is sired by Blaze of Glory. Nice little March 15th baldy bull calf. So then we'll be on to our own bulls, so or purebreds, I guess. Purebred bulls will be next. This is percentage bulls here, and then we'll be on to the purebreds.
You know, he's young. Sometimes we take these, and it's the first trip away from home, and probably first time he's been separated from mom, and it doesn't end so well. But this young lady's a good hand. Got a good calf. You know, just lots of things to build on with him. He's sound, and he's attractive, and he's balanced, and you'll have fun with him. Congratulations.
Your grand
Again,
champion,
Class 5.
bred and owned percentage bull, exhibited by Hannah Tremaine from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Sired by Blaze of Glory. Now moving to your purebred bulls, Class 6 purebred bred and owned bulls. These are February and March born team, and entries in this class are Sam Hulse from Waltham, Minnesota, with calf sired by SKHC Yahtzee 64C, and Trey Klein from Rossau, North Dakota, sired by WS All Aboard. So these are February and March born 2019 bull calves. Two more classes in our bred and owned bull show, and then we'll be selecting a champion again. So
Pretty good feat. I shouldn't take them little bull calves like that to get them broke. Little March bull calves and February bull calves this time of year. That's I'd say them juniors have been working at it pretty good.
Yep, they are. For being that age, and they look like they are show broke already. So I finally got my last few cows out to grass, and I thought about keeping a few around for the show barn this summer. My kids aren't quite old enough, and I thought, you know, there'll be a lot of summers here in the next 10, 15, 20 years that the show barn will be full. I think we'll just let her be for a little while.
Yeah,
so
I think everybody was tired of fighting the mud and having all that. I think they were time to see them go to grass.
Yep. I was just glad not to have to buy another semi-load of hay. So, but two nice little bull calves here at in this class, and then we'll move on to April of 2018 bull calves. So.
Looks like he's going to use the big February calf in this class. Looks like that the Klein bull is going to be our class winner here, and Sam Huss from Minnesota is going to look like he's going to be second. We'll listen to Randy on this class of bull calves.
So is this
Bred, part of the bull show. I like this guy that's got this first calf. I made a comment about that calf's bobtail, what happened. I said, man, he got it. He said, oh, yeah, he wasn't messing around. He did a good job of it. He just laughs about it. But, you know, that's a good calf, and he's really good numbered. You know, I get this color-coded sheet, and you kind of see percentile rankings, and you want to be able to utilize those numbers and make everything work, and then you get a calf like this. It's really good numbered, and a really, really nice calf to go with it. So those are the ones that are valuable. But that calf's thick and big top and stout and good looking even without a tail. And then the little calf that we've got that comes second. There's not so much age difference as there is just growth difference in these two calves. You know, lots to like about him. He's just way behind, maybe a little bit too early to pass judgment on him, but sure like that red calf that wins.
First in Class 6.
Now results of Class 6. First place went to Trey Klein of Rossau, North Dakota, and second to Sam Holst of Waltham, Minnesota. Now move on to Class 7. This is bred-known purebred bulls born April of 2018. And one entry in this class from Fletcher Hennessy of Deluxe, North Dakota, sired by FHEN Dakota. This bull is an April 12th of 2018.
That's a good-looking bull Fletcher's got there. I'll tell you what, he talked about, kind of neat-fronted, but still got a lot of meat muscle in him, and get around the ring awfully nice. Randy's going to talk about him.
Attractive single entry bull that we have in this second class. Obviously that one has been at a good home. He's just right as far as condition. Does lots of things right. I think the first thing that captures me is just he's masculine and he's up-headed and he's got some crest, and I like that, but he's really good in his neck, and that transition from his forerib through his shoulder and into his neck. Really good as you study his lines back through his hip. He's nicely balanced. He's good and kind. He still can get out and go. Nice calf.
Here's Randy for your comments.
Our bull show is not going to last very long, but we're going to have some nice ones back out here to pick a champion from. This one, when you get him stopped and squared up and set up like this guy's got him now, lots to like about him. Just freak-necked and big-bodied and good lined. If we're going to pick on him just a bit, part of it's nerves, but when he gets out on the move, then he kind of hunt and pecks where he wants to put it down, and he's not as attractive and balanced on the go as he is as he stands, but sure nice long yearling bull to win this third class.
Placing first in the class.
All right, results in that class was Clay Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. Calf was sired by Blaze of Glory. Now move into select your grand champion bred gnome purebred bull. Your class 6 bull was exhibited by Trey Klain of Russo, North Dakota. Out of class 7 was Fletcher Hennessy of Deluxe, North Dakota. And class number 8, Clay Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. So, looks like they're also going to bring in our second place calf out of class 6 from Sam Holst of Waltham, Minnesota. This is for your selection of your grand champion, bred and owned purebred bull.
Sure not big in numbers, Dustin, but I'll tell you what, there's a couple of big bulls out there that are awfully nice bulls that got some body to them, structured good and move good, and I'd say the two big bulls are very athletic and still have a lot of good product to give, and still have some good numbers. Like Randy said, they're good numbered cattle, and
Yep.
Tell you what, that's use all the tools we can to breed these cattle, and looks like these young people have done a nice job.
Yep. For all you exhibitors at home, if you heard Randy talking about EPDs and stuff, he does have a sheet that gives the calving knees, the wean weight, yearling weight, and the stay, yield grade, marbling, API, TI. So Here's Randy on your selection of your Grand Champion bull.
I don't think if I walked up right at this point that I'd realize that we didn't have, but that was the entire bull show that we've got out here. You know, I bragged on the red calf early on to just talking about how good numbered he is. And still a calf that's got some muscle and some look, good kind. The bull won the second class. He's just got that captivating kind of a look to get one that's that strong topped and level hipped and good necked and clean fronted, and that's hard to put in a package in a purebred Simmental bull. You know, we've looked for a lot of them, and they're hard to come by when you get as critical as we are. But that's a nice bull, wins that second class. You know, the bull that wins the third class, we talked about him, and I really like him as he stands. And to be honest, he was more comfortable this time, and he moved better than he did the first time around. And I think that's kind of what you'd expect. And then the calf that was second in the early class, he gets a little dwarfed out here. He's got a long way to go, but still a nice calf. I think the one that wins the second class is an easy winner for me. So he's going to be your champion. Let's give him a round of applause. Nice bull. Good job, buddy. You know, then it just comes down to me as to where you're going to let your priorities fall. You know, if you just place those two bulls right now, I think the easy thing to do would probably be use the older bull, and that may be what we do. But I think when you study everything that's given to us to work with, it makes the red calf more competitive. I think there's value in cattle like that have a set of numbers like that. So I'm going to use that red calf for reserve. The black and white bull will be third, and the calf down here will be fourth. Congratulations to you guys.
Your Grand Champion bred and owned purebred bull was exhibited by Fletcher Hennessy out of class number 7 from Des Lacs, North Dakota. And your reserve Grand Champion purebred bull came out of class number 6. There was the young February bull calf exhibited by Trey Klain of Rosa, North Dakota. Third overall was Clay Sundberg out of class 8 with a February of 18 bull. And fourth overall was Sam Holst of Waltham, Minnesota. So,
Dustin, that's a really nice division to have. This is, I know the Angus and the Hereford have done it a long time, but the Simmental people have finally implemented this in here to this program for these juniors. And I tell you, it's a great addition. It's talking about American ag production here and adding these bulls in for these youth to be able to raise these show heifers and work with the making sure that they got productive cows, and no matter what they get at them, if they get a heifer calf or a bull calf, they can come back and show them. Bred and owned division, it's always really important in there. I think it's a real tribute to the leadership of the juniors that wanted it, and so finally the seniors said, "You bet, let's go ahead and make it happen." So I think it's a great step forward. I think it'll continue to grow. I think you were in Minneapolis last summer and saw that. They did grow. It did grow quite a bit there, and I think when we go to Louisville here in the end of July, you'll see that it's a great addition, and it's just good. Another teaching process for these juniors about Simmental genetics and having their ability to raise good cattle, and it's a hard school of knocks.
Yep.
Sometimes
definitely.
you think it's always easy. I'm going to breed this cow to that bull. We're going to get a great one.
Right, exactly. It don't always work out that way. So. But I grew up showing in the Angus juniors and always liked getting into that bred and owned division because it did mean a little something more to you when you take out something that you'd bred and owned. And I tell you what, that was, the owned has always been competitive, of course, but that bred and owned division in the Angus world has really have gotten dang competitive, and I don't foresee anything that would change that in the Simmentals. That you get these juniors where they know that they can do this bred and owned deal, and I tell you what, just by the few that we've seen out here so far this morning, they're going to really step up the A game when it comes to that bred and owned division.
That'd be for sure. Folks, we're kind of right in a break here right now. They're taking pictures of the champion bulls and reserve bulls here, and then we'll get on to the cow-calf pairs. Percentage of females, that'll be coming up here shortly. It'll be class number 9. If you are following along at home, for you folks that didn't be with us, we'll be coming up on class number 9. It'll be percentage cow-calf pairs, and it'll be a really nice show there also. A beautiful day here in North Dakota. We want to thank everyone that has joined us on live auctions, and we want to be able to keep you informed as the day goes along. We'll kind of let you know. If I know there's some people that did text me yesterday and said, hey, you're going to have something live up there today, and we are on live auctions, and we'll try to keep you updated time-wise when things are going to happen and when they're going to happen. And so we're going to take just a short break. We'll be back with you here in a few minutes, probably 5 minutes or so. We'll be back with you onto the percentage cow-calf pairs.
Alrighty. Well, we're now back on to our percentage cow-calf pairs, and we'll start with class number 9. Just finished up with a great bull sale or bull show, and we'll be starting on class number 9. And these cows were born in 2017, starting with the 2-year-old percentage cow-calf pairs. In this class, we'll have entries from Weston Hawkins from Lowry, Minnesota, Hannah Tremaine from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin, and Blake Kruger from Hastings, Minnesota. So,
Dustin, we got another sponsor that's popped up there for us, Quantz Brothers, BJT Ranch. These guys powered by design sale. Tuesday, February the 18th, they're going to have another great set of bulls to sell, about 60 bulls, and so you sell that sale, don't you?
Yep, I sure do. Travis and Jason, and they're 2 young breeders doing an excellent job. So,
hey, I know they have had quality cattle, and I know you get the pleasure to sell that, but I'll tell you what, it's a uniform set of bulls, and if one commented, he did say, when he sent me a paragraph, that Jason said, hey, he said, we have everything, we have every bull for everybody. He said, it's we try to make them uniform, but we want them to, they going to be good too. So
yep.
Thanks for their sponsorship on this. It's a really nice set of 2-year-olds coming out here with calves at side. I tell you what, Randy will have his work cut out here. If you kind of want style, or if you want some big-bodied kind of female, or what you'd like, I mean, they've got it all right here in this class. This will be an interesting deal.
Yep.
For you to for them to look at there. You got a primo. That's the first female out there. The second female is a broker female, and then you got an intergrade. So you got 3 different sires. It'll be interesting to kind of see what he comes up with in this class.
3 different sires, 3 different styles, 3 different endpoints in mind. So, and 2 entries from Minnesota and an entry from Wisconsin. So, 2 states that are heavily supported in this region. Just the front of the program here, there have the North Dakota Simmental board members. Just wanted to point those folks out. I'm sure they were very instrumental in pulling this show off. Dusty Kunkel, David Dahl, Tim Clark, J.R. Uffald, Doug Beekler, Derek Samuelson, Todd Fink, Pat Thorson, and Brian LeBalt. So thank your North Dakota board members and for welcoming us all here to the great state of North Dakota.
Interesting to see how they, when you come up here to Fargo, what your dynamics are of people that go to farthest or who has the biggest numbers. I think they said the Minnesota kids, they had 49 kids here. Iowa had a strong number too. In South Dakota had another strong run of kids too. So really, really good showing, and nice facility. And great access right off the interstate crisscrossing here for you to get to. So if you are at home today and can't make it, I hope that you can give you a nice view to be able to see what's going on here. This is 2-year-old percentage pairs. Nice set of females walking around the ring here.
You bet. This first pair is sired by Colburn Primo. And the calf is sired by Cowboy Logic. A nice little bull calf. Your second pair, that calf is sired by Blaze of Glory. And Baldy bull calf there, and Baldy cow is a broker daughter. And the last pair rounding out our class is sired by the Grass Lunning bull Integrate. And has a wide range heifer calf, big old stout February born wide range heifer calf walking beside that nice 2-year-old. So this would be, we talked about how bringing them little bull calves out in that last division would be, but tell you what, this would be a division that takes some talent and some skill, bringing these 2-year-old pairs out. And I'm telling you what, these gals have probably they are working their hearts out. You can tell they've got nice old udders on them and just doing a heck of a good job for a set of 2-year-olds. Here's Randy. He's got our classes placed.
You know, I just love these cow-calf pair classes when you have good ones. You know, to me, nothing is more attractive than a 2-year-old that's good uddered and maternal and sound and pretty and has a good calf at side. And I think the one that wins this class just does all of that. Obviously, the home that she comes from, they know how to take care of one. My bet would be that would have been a really competitive bred heifer last year. But man, don't you hope those show heifers turn into cows like that and produce calves like that? Wow, what a way to start the cow-calf portion of the show. You know, I like this pair that comes second. You know, she's not just exquisite in her line and her makeup like the cow that we used to win this class, but man, I'd like to have a lot of them at our place like her, in that she's got that real maternal look. She's got some width to her chest and her base, and still has lots of rib shape and depth of body. You know, still maternal, 4 udders nice in her. Teats probably need to be nursed down just a bit to make them a little more balanced, like the one we had just in front of her, but that's really, really nitpicky. That's 2 excellent pairs that we have on the front end of that class. You got a nice pair yourself. You know, you just fell in class with a couple of really, really good ones. She's not as sound. She's not as good as you study her down through her front end. Kind of wants to toe out up front. I'd like to know what that calf's by. You talk about a soggy-bellied, big-ribbed one. She's extra thick. She's unique. Nice pairs to start this part of the show.
Results in Class 9.
All right, results of Class 9 percentage pairs. First place went to Weston Hawkins from Lowry, Minnesota. Second to Hannah Tremaine from Okanawaka, Wisconsin. And third to Blake Kruger from Hastings, Minnesota. I'll move into Class 10 of your percentage cow-calf pairs. These cows were born in 2016 and earlier. Looks like we have 2 cows that were born in 2014. And first entry is from Sawyer Naz from Platte, South Dakota. And Janae Salvetti from Lewiston, Minnesota. One's sired by Broker, and the other one is by the Oak Meadows Farms Bull Commander. So
that's a nice set of 2-year-olds, Dustin. That heifer that won, she was purchased out of the Jewels of the Northland sale and was campaigned successfully by the Hawkins family. She was supreme up here at the winter show back in December. Laid down, had that calf, and Randy Daniels just really fell in love with that pair. I mean, that's a beautiful pair, primo daughter, elegant female that you like to see, and they're doing a job. Beautiful udder. You've seen enough of those primos to know what they can do, and that one there's awfully nice. 2 big, good cows. Look like they're hard-working cows in here now for in this class number 10, and you talk about another production of agriculture right here. Maybe not the prettiest cows, but man, they got some nice calves at side again coming to you in class number 10 in these percentage cow-calf pairs.
You bet. This first calf, this fancy little baldy calf is sired by Pays to Believe out of a Broker daughter. And second pair, the solid black pair, that cow again is sired by OMF Commander, and the calf is sired by Hooks Baltic. So,
Dustin, I got another sponsor that come up now on the screen. Klein Semitoles, Darnell and Darcy Klein. they have done a tremendous job of being breeders here in North Dakota. They have their 38th annual production sale coming up here in February, and I know Darnell he's been a big supporter of Simmental, and he's a really good guy to visit with and talk about Simmental cattle. The next one that just come up here, Lazy Sea Diamond. Chris Nicholson and his wife have a great set of cattle over in central North Dakota. We're going to listen to Randy, and then I'll come back and talk to you more about Lazy Sea Diamond.
A nice pair that's going to lead off this class. You know, again, I talked about a while ago in the Bull Show. I've got all the data available, and this cow's got a real balanced set of numbers. I think she wins that way, but that's the kind of cow that I like. I know sometimes when I get the opportunity to come up here, the cattle up here are just bigger, and your environment supports bigger cattle than what we're used to. So, you know, for me, my comfort zone is one that's just a little more moderate. So I'm attracted to a cow like that. Just like these lower input kind of cows, still good udder to be a 4 or 5 year old cow, real refined as far as her teats. Really nice up through her front end. I just love that rib shape, and she's got all of that. She's got that full ribbon chest without carrying a lot of condition, and just looks just like a maternal machine. Has a good calf at side. Again, big top, thick-ended, stout count of a calf that she's got. You know, the cow that comes next, a little bigger version, a little more cow than you know, we'd feel comfortable with in our country. But the last thing I need to do is come to North Dakota and tell you what I can't tell you guys what kind of cattle you need to raise. You may live and doing for generations, but you know, that's a good cow. She's not as good uddered in terms of her fore udder as the cow that we have just in front of her. Probably wins for as far as just quality of the calf. That's a nice baldy calf she's got at side. Real sound. You watch that cow as she goes. Real long bodied. Impressive couple of pairs in that class.
Results of Class 10, percentage cow-calf.
All right. First place in that class went to Janae Salvetti from Lewiston, Minnesota. And second went to Sawyer Naz from Platte, South Dakota. So now we'll select your grand champion percentage pair. And out of Class 9 was Weston Hawkins from Lowry, Minnesota. And Class 10, Janae Salvetti from Lewiston, Minnesota. So Weston has that good primo daughter, and Janae has the commander daughter. So your 2-year-olds versus your mature pairs here now for your selection of your grand champion pair.
Folks, that we see there on your screen as they do, we'll go through the show here today. We do have sponsors that will pop up on there. This is Beekler Simmentals. I talked earlier about Doug and his wife. They have their 15th annual sale coming up February the 11th, 2020 in Linton, North Dakota. They'll sell 70 bulls and 50 females. Be sure, if you have never been on their mailing list, to give them a call or email them, or they'll be sure to get you one sent up there. Beekler Simmental is doing a great job. Dakota Express, 15th annual or 16th annual sale for those fellas there. Wade Stagley and Kevin Hansen. That's going to be at Mandan at Kiss Livestock, and that'll be the 21st of February. Them guys have done a tremendous job of raising bulls and bred females for that sale every year. And you talk about Simmental production and predictability. There's been a lot of good cattle come out of that sale also. And Dustin, I think it's a real tribute to as many breeders there is. Lori and I got to travel up here for many, many years, seeing the development of these programs, and these guys have done a good job up here. You get to come up here quite a bit and sell a few of them, and I tell you what, it's just a lot of good cattle.
You bet. Simmental sales up here in North Dakota definitely are some of the highlight sales at Simmental Genetics are definitely strong in the state of North Dakota and in this north central region.
You bet. Looks like Randy's taking a final look here at his pairs for this percentage division. Looks like you talk about it kind of depends what you want. If you want an elegant 2-year-old or if you want a kind of a big, stout, mature cow, then you can take either one. But regardless, they both have a lot of good value to them, and they're good cattle. And they're I tell you what, if you think it's easy, try it. Come on out and try to put these cattle together like this, because it's tell you what, takes a lot of hard work. A lot of hard work in this youth, and it takes a lot of good parents to back these youth up to be able to come to these shows like that.
You bet. Especially to pull a big old stout cow around like this. So.
Looks like Randy's going to talk about them here.
You knew this cow-calf show was going to be good when we started out with that first class, and those top two young cows in that class were just incredibly good. I just love this 2-year-old that we've got that won that first class. She's not going to be the stoutest made one that we're going to see, but to me they don't have to be. Just to get them that sound and that attractive and that good uddered and that good footed and that nicely balanced and that attractive when she goes, those are hard to come by. So congratulations to you. She's got a good calf inside, nice pair. I like the one that that won that next class. She's not as show ready as the one we have just in front of her, but a cow that's just done a lot of things right. But I think the 2-year-old's a shoe-in to win this cow-calf show. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to you, too.
Your grand champion percentage pair came out of class number 9, exhibited by Weston Hawkins from Lowry, Minnesota. So came from Hill Brands and is sired by Primo. Got a calf walking beside Wider by Cowboy Logic. So nice little 2-year-old pair. Now we'll select your reserve grand champion percentage pair. Your second place pair pulling in for contention was Hannah Tremaine from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin.
If we would have had this baldy 2-year-old and her baldy calf in there as a class winner, I would have been pretty enthusiastic about them as well. I said a while ago, I'd love to have a whole set of 2-year-olds that are like that are, that are that stout made, that are that big ribbed, that are that maternal, and that productive looking as a 2-year-old. So I think she needs to be reserved. Congratulations.
Reserve percentage cow-calf pair goes to entry 559. Hannah.
Also came out of your 2-year-old pairs, exhibited by Hannah Tremaine from Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Cow by Broker and calf by Blaze of Glory. Pulling in now is Blake Kruger from Hastings, Minnesota. He'll be your last one that can pull into contention.
Big cow.
You bet. That'd be Janae Silvetti from Lewiston, Minnesota. Cow sired by OMF Commander. Calf by Hooks Baltic. And fourth overall is Sawyer Naz from Platte, South Dakota. Cow by Broker and little bull calf by Pays to Believe. And then fifth overall round in that division out is Blake Kruger from Hastings, Minnesota, with the cow by Integrate and calf by Wide Range. So now I'm sure we'll probably take another pitcher break, and will be our next division that we'll go into will be our percentage heifer show. So start off with the bred and owned percentage heifers.
Dustin, as you folks that are at home on the screen, I think you're looking at a picture break screen, and it should say Klein Simmental Ranch and Darnell and Darcy Klein, I guess I should say. They have their 38th annual production sale, Turtle Lake, North Dakota, Saturday, February the 1st, 2020. 50 bulls and 20 females doing a great job. And I'll tell you what, Darnell and Darcy have been the supporters of these young people in this state of North Dakota for a long, long time, and have done a great job. So as you see, as you watch the screen here today, you're going to see these kind of pop up there, and you'll be able to see different sponsors. All these are North Dakota sponsors, and a great tribute to them. Lazy C Diamond Ranch. Here's Chris Nicholson and his family, and I'll tell you what, they sell about 85 lots, bulls and females here February the 5th. Last year they sold a bull called LCDR Impact that went to $130,000 bull that went to Paul Radine up there in Minnesota. I got to see him, Dustin, out there at the stud, out there at CCI, Custom Genetic Solutions, CGS, and I tell you what, you talk about an impressive bull. He is, and really good numbered, and my hat's off to Chris and his family for producing a bull like that. And then Paul didn't let anybody else in on him. He bucked up and bought him himself, and I'll tell you what, he's got a darn good bull in his hands there. We was out there and went through the bulls, and that bull was impressive standing there in that barn. So
yeah, there definitely has been a lot of breeders talking about that calf. So
got the Power by Design sale. Jason Quantz and his partner Travis, them guys, you get to sell that sale, and them guys have done a great job. Here's a situation where no matter what you want, Jason said, we're going to try to produce it. We want, if you want big bulls, little bulls, good bulls, powerful individuals with good numbers, he said, we're going to try to produce them for you. And I know you get to sell it. So.
Yep, definitely a set of cattle that, we've sold some breeder bulls out of there, but definitely has a strong commercial cowman interest there. And we do sell some Cavanese bulls, but you want to talk about a sale that's got a lot of big, stout power bulls. Jason and Travis do an excellent job feeding, and a lot of repeat customers come back time after time. So
Bailey Livestock just popped up there. Scott and Joey, I tell you what, kind of a neat deal there. They had produced the female that was supreme champion at the Junior National last summer there in Minneapolis. Bailey's Prophet Dream, beautiful, beautiful female. That Prophet daughter that come out of a big, good, stout red cow out of their program, and she ended up being supreme there for Sarah Sullivan last summer. And then Minneapolis, pretty much hands down winner. Crowd favorite, and really a good female. But Scott and his family do a really nice job. They run about 120 cows and really concentrate on more embryo transplant work probably than anything. Probably about 30 of those cows are kind of purebred with AI, and then the rest of them cows are recips, and they concentrate pretty hard on putting in a really good set of embryos every year. And private treaty sales always available up there for them. To go ahead and stop in. Beekler Simmental, Doug, and his family, they do a really, really good job. And I'll tell you what, they have their 15th annual sale coming up here. It'll be February the 11th, 2020, and they'll sell about 70 bulls and 50 females. Doug has done a tremendous job on the red side of things. He has sold cattle all over the country, and I'll tell you what, specializing emphasis on disposition, udder, structure, and foot quality. They welcome anyone to stop at the ranch and take a look at the cattle. some of the cattle or some of the bulls, the cash flow bulls come out of there, the wide load bull. They've done a great job of merchandising and producing really, really good cattle across that have sold across the United States and Canada. Dakota Express, here's another great sponsor, Wade Stagley and Kevin Hansen. These guys are running up on their 16th annual sale now, coming up February the 21st at Kiss Livestock there in Mandan. These guys have always done a great job. I hope they're here today. If they're not, I hope they are watching the show on the internet. These guys have been good sponsors here, and have been big believers of Simmental cattle here in the state of North Dakota. I don't know if you guys can see the one screen on the on live auctions, the baskets that they have up there on the table up there on the announcer stand. Those are all galvanized buckets full of flowers and stuff, and they do a great job. All those, I think they're all spoken for right now, but there's a great, that's just a really, really neat deal. If you get a chance to see that there, these are all sponsored and given galvanized buckets with flowers in them. Just a beautiful display here at the show here today. So we're in a picture break. We're waiting for them to get done with the cow-calf pair pictures. Great percentage cow-calf show there here this morning. And as soon as they get done there, we'll be back with you. I'm assuming in about 5 minutes we'll be on to the percentage female show at that time. So we'll be back in about 5 minutes, folks.
Now we'll move on to our bred and owned division, Class 11, bred and owned percentage heifers. These are April and May born heifers. Have entries in this class. Lucas Wisniewski from Wyoming, Illinois, with a heifer sired by Prophet. Mary Moaning from Hayfield, Minnesota, which heifer is sired by Insight. Austin Rose from Chamberlain, South Dakota, with a heifer sired by TQ Tipton A67C. Tayton Tweed also has a heifer in this class, exhibited from Beersford, South Dakota, sired by WC Bullseye. And rounding out the class is Shelby Griman from Goodell, Iowa, with a heifer sired by GSJG Impressive 10D. So 5 fancy heifers in this class of April and May born heifers, bred and owned heifers, percentage heifers, to get us started here this morning.
You folks that are on live auctions watching us, if you we can change the camera view somehow or a little bit different or anything like that, let us know. We'll try to help you out as much as possible so you can get to see this. Text me at 612-805-7405 and we'll see if we can help you out. Try to make it better for your viewing there today. We want to be able to make sure that you guys are enjoying it there at home too. Just starting off our percentage bred and owned division here on these heifers. Looks like a really nice set of May and April females coming here today, and I'll tell you what, you'll enjoy getting to see a really nice show here, hopefully. Randy Daniels is our judge here today, and I'll tell you what, he did a nice job explaining his reasons to these young people here earlier today, and on the steers and cow-calf pairs. Really nice show. Beautiful day here in Fargo, North Dakota. I want to thank our sponsors that we have up on the screen here with you today, and I tell you what, wouldn't be without those helping us out. Dakota Express is up there right now, and we'll keep mentioning these guys throughout the day. Dustin, I just think we're really getting a nice crowd of people coming in to see here, and just a really nice day for a show. North Dakota, we got in the barn there last night and was walking through and had nothing but good comments for the people that the exhibitors said it's been great hospitality here in North Dakota.
Yeah, great hospitality and just awesome weather. Been nice and cool, and like Val said, another nice day here today. The cattle are feeling good, and more importantly, the sun's shining. The exhibitors are feeling good after the winter and spring that we've had. But I tell you, they're taking a loop around the ring here. That first heifer was Luke Wisniewski from Illinois with by Prophet. Baldy heifer just coming around. 539A was Mary Moaning. Her heifer sired by Insight. 158 is Austin Rose from Chamberlain, South Dakota, and his heifer sired by Tipton. The red heifer is Tayton Tweed, is the exhibitor from Beersford, South Dakota, there in the cowboy hat, and his heifer is sired by WC Bullseye. And the last heifer in the class is exhibited by Shelby Griman from Goodell, Iowa, and her heifer is sired by GSJG Impressive. So they're lining them up head to toe here, and Randy's going through and making his final decision. So I think we touched on it. Randy's just an excellent judge, not only as far as seeing the cattle, but also working with the juniors. And more importantly, I think that's as equally as awesome to have folks that can work with the junior folks to keep them enthused about what they're doing, whether they're first in class or they're fourth or fifth or seventh or eighth, that make them all feel like they're doing an awesome job out here. He's pulling a few heifers out. The first heifer he pulled out, the Baldy heifer there, 516, is Shelby Griman from Iowa. And next one he pulled out there, to try and get him lined up maybe a little bit the way he likes him a little bit is Lucas Wisniewski from Wyoming, Illinois, heifer sired by Profit. And the
Okay, he's talking to him the whole time, telling them to go ahead and let them cattle get out and walk so they can get a good look at him. He wants to make sure that he gets a good look at him. The soundness is a big thing to Randy, and I tell you what, he wants those cattle to get out and move and make sure that he's looking at them right here. This is not the brightest facility, being on the dirt like that, so it makes these black cattle just even a little more denser to look at and stuff. But nice set of heifers to start off with.
I tell you what, if this class of 5 is anything what we're going to be like the next few hours coming through this ring, we're in for a very exciting show. I think somebody said there's about 150 head, 170 head here to this today. So
here's Randy's going to talk about them.
Every curve, every ditch, every turn, every...
Golly, what a nice way to start this percentage part of the show. The heifer that ended up second came in first a while ago, and wow, we got one to anchor to, and this one comes in last, and I thought we just need to get those two together. They're not just exactly alike in terms of how they're made, but I like them both a lot. You know, this Baldy heifer, and you guys just had to bear with me, but I think you get one like this, and she's good enough. I want to give her every chance in the world, and that's why I ask you to hold up and let those others get out in front of you, because when we don't hold her back, she takes about a 6-inch longer step up front. She fills her track, but just a beautiful heifer to me, so long-bodied and so nicely balanced, and, you know, not freak-necked, but really maternal in her design. If you hold her back, she'll shorten up a bit in her stride. I like the shape and size of her foot. I like the way she goes when you get out and just let her do it with ease. Just love that balanced look that she gives us. I think a lot of that, she's so big-ribbed and she's deep through her center body and on back into her rear rib. I like the kind of heifer that we have in second, a little more moderate. That's the kind that fits well down where we are today. She's not quite moving off that rear leg like I wish she would. She's got a great big foot. It looks like she can go. You just like to just make her push off a little harder behind, but just love the rib shape, love the maternal look that she gives us from the side. Two awesome heifers on the front end of that class. The real slick-haired one, I think those two weren't in here, we'd be bragging appropriately on her. What you see is what you get. She doesn't give you a lot of hair to work with, which would be just fine at my house, but I like a lot of things about her. Still real sound and big-ribbed and deep-bodied and good-necked. I just think really, really a nice kind in that heifer that comes third. I like the young man's heifer, the red heifer that comes next. She's not going to be as lean-necked as some of those we had in front of her, but man, is she good in terms of her rib and the way she ties into her forerib and her shoulder. She's so good back through her hip. Just a real middle-of-the-road to moderate kind of female. You read those teats and the spacing, and you think, man, she's going to be nice uddered. Lots of good in that red one. Then this one wanted to get just a little stiff. When we get right down low in her foot and way up into her pasture, and we'd change her just a bit in the way she goes. But I still like her. Not a bad one in the group. Awesome pair up front. Let's give them a great big round of applause. Good way to start.
Results in Class 11.
all right, Class 11 bred and owned percentage heifers. The results in that class: first place went to Shelby Griman from Goodell, Iowa, and heifer sired by GSJG Impressive 10D. Second to Lucas Wisniewski from Wyoming, Illinois. Third to Mary Moaning from Hayfield, Minnesota. Fourth to Tayton Tweed from Beersford, South Dakota. And fifth to Austin Rose from Chamberlain, South Dakota. Now move on to Class 12 percentage born heifers. And entries in this class: Whitney Olson from Alexandria, Minnesota. Eli Hennessy from Delax, North Dakota. and Kennedy Effling from Highmore, South Dakota. So
looks like we got 2 scratches. Sammy Long from Iowa and Tyler Loudon from Iowa also scratching that class. 3 really nice heifers in this class. Again, I'll tell you what, kind of depends what you're looking for, and if you implement the numbers and put it all together too, you get to see some differences in style and balance of what you're really wanting to see. Sponsor that come up, Powered by Design sale, the Quans brothers and Travis Thompson. Them guys do a great job. February the 18th, 2020, 60 bulls, Semitone, Sam Angus bulls, powerful individuals. Them guys do a great job. Dustin, I know you get to sell that, but it's a real tribute to those guys for bringing a good set of bulls in production every year.
you bet, definitely. Kind of different with this percentage heifer show. You can get a lot of different sires representative. And this class, we have a heifer by Brilliance, one by looks probably the resident herd bull up there at Hennessy's, bull called Dakota, and a broker daughter. So some sires that we get to see quite a bit, and some that we don't always see just all often. But I tell you what, 3 high quality heifers in this class of March born, bred and owned percentage heifers. So
tell you what, real tribute to them boys back there on the chutes. They make these cattle look awfully good. They're pretty handy putting these cattle together. And it's funny. Years ago we used to say, "Well, let's go fit this one." Now them fitters all say, "Well, let's go put this one together."
right, exactly. Yep.
Let's use a little product here and let's use a little product there, and that's one thing I don't miss is paying that product bill anymore.
No. But I tell you what, they definitely have got them looking the part, and it definitely helps with the nice day we're having. And I'm sure everybody back in the barn probably has a little bit extra jump in their step, since it's not 95 and humid. It's I suppose it's probably about 70 and nice and cool here in North Dakota. So
looks like he's going to pull out Whitney Olson's heifer to win this class at this point in time. Going to use the Effling heifer for second in this class, and then follow up with the Hennessy heifer. Randy's going to talk about them.
Different kinds in this class, and I said earlier that I'm not the guy to come up here and say, man, these are bigger than I feel comfortable with. You have to do what you believe in and what you like, and the one that wins this class just suits me to a T. I just like that. I just like that kind. She's sound as a cat. Really, really, really good footed. She's lean in condition, yet still has some shape to her rib and some body. I like her when you get behind her and you study her back out of her hip. The way her pin's set, beautiful up through her front end. Really, really a nice one to win this class. And we got 2 heifers that are different, sure different as far as kind. That baldy heifer that comes second. She's a little nervous. You can kind of watch her tail and tell she thrashes it just a bit. And with that, she wants to get a little off. She wants to get a little off in the way that she goes behind. And I don't think that comes with her. I think you can see right now she's on point. You look at that eye, and you look at her ears, and you look at her neck. You can tell she's just strung a little tighter. And with that, when you get her in class with one like we had up front, and I have an option, I'll choose one that's just a little more moderate. And that's not to nitpick a really, really nice heifer that's so long-bodied and good-necked and good-lined. That's my comfort zone. And then still like the heifer that comes third. She's got more depth right there center body than the one we have just in front of her. She's not quite as good as you steady her right out of her hips. She gets a little shorter and steeper in her rump. Wants to get just a nickel straighter up front. Sure like the one that wins.
Results in Class 12.
all right, results of class number 12. Whitney Olson from Alexandria, Minnesota, with her heifer sired by SAV Brilliance. And second went to Kennedy Effling from Highmore, South Dakota, with her heifer sired by Broker. And third, Eli Hennessy from Deluxe, North Dakota, with his heifer sired by Dakota. Now we'll move into Class 13. Here's a big class of February and January born heifers. Entries in this class: Martha Moaning from Hayfield, Minnesota. Anna Doyle from Wapaka, Wisconsin. And Kayla Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota. Paige Zimprick is from North Dakota is a scratch. Bailey Peterson from Gibbon, Minnesota. Tally Heim from Wessington Springs, South Dakota. Ian Sundberg from Arlington, Illinois. And Lydia Folhaber from Sargent, Minnesota. So here's a big class of February and January born percentage bred and owned heifers in your Class 13 here today. So tell you what, Val, here's a class that probably one of the bigger classes we've had so far today, but tell you from top to bottom, still high quality heifers that anybody would want to take home and can make some excellent breeding pieces. So
Tell you what, if you're there viewing on the screen at home, you get a pretty good idea. I'm looking at the same screen, and I tell you what, it's them are some big old stout heifers, and really, there's not a bad heifer in that whole group. And I'll tell you what, you talk about animal husbandry and doing a great job. These juniors here look like they got a darn nice set of them in this class. And these are bred and owned. That's a real tribute to them to have a bred and owned division with that many good bred, big stout February heifers in it. And I'll tell you, when you get to calving these females like you just saw in that cow-calf pair, that is teaching these young people about how to raise some good Simmental genetics.
Yep. And heifer class that's 7 deep and not a single heifer sired by the same bull. So tribute to these juniors going out and picking their sire lineup. Not everybody's just going to one shot. It's all different ones. We got heifers sired by Bandwagon, Pays to Believe, Equity, No Remorse, Mr. McCook's Load, Blaze of Glory, and In Due Time. So 7 different heifers, different types, 7 different sires. So
it's a little bit of different genetic profile when you look at your EPDs on these females. There is some females that maybe fall off a little bit on their API and TI, but I'll tell you what, they got some growth numbers to go along with them. It's like anything, it's a tool that you use, and we take a look and see how we can breed them, make them better. As you look at this genetic profile, I think that there's some give and take. Will be interesting to see what Randy does with this class. There's some awfully good individuals in there, though.
Yeah, I think Randy's touched on it a little bit so far today. That he does have a sheet that does have these EPDs on them that these cattle have. But one thing that he wants for sure is that talks darn near, I think, about every class, Val, is structure. And structure, and you hear him talk about foot size and foot dimension and feet and legs, and then that's where it all starts. And EPDs are great, but it's just another tool in the toolbox to make everything go around.
Yep, that's for sure. And that's good. That's really good. That I think that structure is one of the most important things we need to keep an eye on in our Simmental genetics and keep them good functional cattle. And he has touched on a lot of that. And as you see the day develops, I think you're going to see it all even more. Sponsor that popped up there, Darnell Klein, Simmental Ranch, 38th annual sale for them coming up February the 21st 2020 at Turtle Lake, North Dakota. 50 bulls and 20 females. Darnell and Darcy Klein have been great supporters of the Seminole juniors here in North Dakota for a long time, and do a great job. And
that's a sale, Val, that he's been having at the Turtle Lake sale barn, and now he's sounds like gonna move it home.
Yep,
so
yep, that's right. He told me that the other day. Lazy Sea Diamond, Chris Nicholson and his family do a great job. Center of North Dakota, their annual production sale, February the 5th. Like I said, I did see the Impact Bull that they're bringing 130,000 there this spring and sold to Paul Radine. That was an impressive individual I seen out there at Mitchell at the Bull Stud, and I'd say that a bull that's made so good in there, and he got a set of numbers to go with him.
And pretty different pedigreed, I think,
He
too.
is different pedigreed, you bet. Really good different pedigreed. And he's, I tell you what, Chris has raised quite a few of them. That's interesting. You look back at some of the bulls that he's raised, Making Waves, the Favorite Bull, and we sold some embryos out of the Sugar Cow in Denver this last year. Hope we get some more embryos out of a couple other donors for him in our Sim Magic sale coming up in Denver, or in our ballroom sale there at the Doubletree. Looks like he's pulled out a couple so far. 5:21 time
from Wessington Springs.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Second looks like that's Schaefer. Kayla Schaefer.
From Deluxe, North Dakota. And looks like Tally's heifer is sired by Mr. McCook's load. I think that'd be a lock and load grandson, if I kind of remember right. So, couple big old stout. Tell you, when they go to calve next spring, they're going to be some big stout fancy cows, and you might get to see them right back here at this cow-calf show next year. And I tell you, they'd be darn competitive as 2-year-olds.
Wisconsin heifer looked like pulled into third. 511A.
Anna Doyle, her heifer's sired by Pays to Believe, and then right behind her is 552. Bailey Peterson from Gibbon, Minnesota, sired by No Remorse. Nice little baldy female.
He's going to walk him one more time here to get another good look at him.
I think you can see on your screen you are viewing Class 13 of your bred and owned percentage heifers. These are January and February born heifers, and we have one more class in our bred and owned percentage heifers. That'll be our September fall yearlings. Then we'll go into select your grand champion bred and owned percentage heifer. So. Putting them in motion one more time, giving them one final look. Like you said, it's fairly light in here, Val, but with this dirt floor, kind of the contrast is a little delusional every once in a while. And I tell you, I think so far I'd have to say that Randy's doing an excellent job getting them all sorted out. So.
Yeah.
Starting to pulled them in for final placing, and here's Randy with Class 13.
Right there. There you go. You know, I really like to judge when you're provided all the data, but to be honest with you, get into a class like this and it makes it tough. You know, the heifer that wins this class, doesn't excel on paper, but golly, you know, it's just hard for a guy like me to pass on one like that and give up too much. You know, there's one to me that just does a lot of things right. She's so sound at the ground. Her foot shape's right. The angle of her joints are right. The set to her hock's right. The angle to her pastern's right. You know, and with that, she's got so much body, and she's still relatively lean. And I think that's the kind that just jump out of the lineup to me. Just love that heifer, and you do a beautiful job as far as getting her shown. You know, the heifer that comes second, I thought, well, it's going to narrow down to those two. Boy, she's stout. I mean, she's big boned and big ribbed. You know, when you get them out on the move, she still moves really, really well. She doesn't just float like the heifer that we had just in front of her. But boy, if you want to add some bone and some power and some punch to one, she could sure do it. Nice heifer that comes second. You know, the third heifer's a little bigger than I feel comfortable with. A little piecier probably in the way that she's put together right up through her forerib, breaks just a little bit right behind her shoulder. And when we stop her, she's just a little out in front. But I'd say that, and that's being negative on a heifer that's still, you've done a beautiful job as far as getting her presented. You got her fitted to a T. You do a great job as far as getting her shown. You just fell in class with some really, really good ones. Next was real maternal, maybe a little more tubular as far as rib shape than the ones we have in front, but really, really feminine and sound, and just like her kind. You know, I was talking about having all the data to work with, and the young lady's heifer that makes the turn now, that's the one, if you just pick them on paper, you think, well, that's the one that can win this class. She wants to get just a nickel straighter in the way that she's laid in up in her shoulder, and with that, it just doesn't allow her to get out and travel like those heifers in front of her. If you can place them with your heart, though, that's the one that would win for me every time. And then two good heifers. You know, you hate to have heifers like this and you say negative things about them down low in this class. That's just incredibly tough as we get onto the front end, but still really good heifers that we close with.
Results in Class 13, bred known percentage heifers born.
All right, results of Class 13. January and February born heifers. First place, Tally Heim from Wessington Springs, South Dakota, with her heifer sired by Mr. McCook's Load. Second to Kayla Schaefer from Des Lacs, North Dakota. Third to Anna Doyle from Wapaka, Wisconsin. Fourth to Bailey Peterson from Gibbon, Minnesota. Fifth place to Lydia Fulhaber from Sargent, Minnesota. Sixth place to Ian Sunderberg from Arlington, Illinois. And seventh to Martha Moaning from Hayfield, Minnesota. That rounds out Class 13. Now into Class 14. September born 2017 heifers of your bred known percentage heifer show. Two heifers in this class, Ryan Blagg of Salem, South Dakota, and Carson Finch of Kelly, Iowa. So here's Ryan's heifer is sired by Lockdown, and Carson's heifer is sired by Yardley, Utah. So then we'll select your grand champion bred known percentage heifer after this class, and tell you here's two fancy fall yearlings, fall senior yearlings.
Good big stout heifers, got really good numbers, Justin. Genetic profile looks good on them also, and then phenotypically here's two heifers that'll just fall right into place. So big baldy heifer of the Finch boy, I think she won Iowa field day 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. Kind of two darn nice heifers, but two heifers a little different in their makeup. One's a little more moderate, stockier female, and one's got a little more frame and a little more rib, a little more top and shape. So we'll see which one Mr. Daniels likes here. Class 14, your first heifer walking on your camera is Ryan Blagg. Your second, the baldy heifer, is Carson Finch from Kelly, Iowa. So The Baldy's sired by Yardley, Utah, and the Solid Black is by WC Lockdown. Looks like he's going to use Carson's heifer to win this class, and Ryan will be second. Here's Randy for his comments. Come on.
That's a stout one that's going to win this class. You know, she's big. You're right on top of her. She's maybe, for me, carrying a little more condition than she would have to be competitive in June. But you've done a beautiful job with her. Man, she is so thick and so big top and so stout. When you get right up on top of her, it's just kind of hard to deny that one. She's not let's go ahead and just let her move, if you would, and we'll bring that next one. You know, she's not one of those that's just going to jump off paper, but still an awfully nice one that we've got to win the class. Good heifer that comes second. One that's, to me, real world kind of a heifer. She gets pretty overpowered and overshadowed by that big style one that we have on the front end, but still real useful kind that comes second.
Results in Class 14, Bred known percent.
Results of Class 14 is first place Carson Finch and second to Ryan Blagg. So now we'll select your grand champion bred and owned percentage heifer. Here this morning we're going to have 4 classes to choose from. And out of our first class of April and May born heifers, our first heifer there is exhibited by Shelby Greiman of Goodell, Iowa. Out of Class 12 is your March-born class is Whitney Olson from Alexandria, Minnesota. Class 13, your January and February calves heifers is Tally Heim of Wessington Springs, South Dakota. And Class 14 is Carson Finch of Kelly, Iowa, and he's going to represent that September senior yearling class. So.
Really nice set of percentage females in the bred and owned division. A real tribute to these young people for breeding them and taking those mama cows and being making breeding decisions and coming back with a product like this. There's not a bad heifer in that lineup right there.
No. Very uniform in their makeup, and all 4 sired by different bulls. Shelby's heifers was by GSJG Impressive. Whitney's heifer is sired by Brilliance, the heifer that is taking a circle around there. And Tally's heifer is sired by Mr. McCook's Load. And Carson's heifer, the heifer on the end, the big baldy, is sired by Yardley, Utah. So all different representations of our gene pool here in this great Simmental breed.
You bet. It's again, you take the genetic evaluation. It's really not a bad numbered heifer in the bunch. There's really so it's a matter of fundamentally you look at them from the ground up, foot size, structure of them. Get into looking maybe at some other quality, teat size and stuff like that on some of these females, and I'd say that he's got something to pick from. Kind of depends on the personal preference probably and what he's going to look for. Randy's always maybe looked at them and taken them a little bit more moderate, but on the other hand, he knows what performance is all about also.
Again, our first heifer here making the spin as they're walking head to tail is Shelby Greiman of Goodell, Iowa. And second is Whitney Olson from Alexandria, Minnesota. The fourth heifer is Tally Heim of Wessington Springs, South Dakota. And Class 14, the last heifer in your lineup there, is Carson Finch of Kelly, Iowa. So, 4 really nice heifers.
Randy back taking another good look at him, and I'd say it's look at this team right down in front of us here. You got your youth director Darla Egeter and her team. Randy's going to talk about these, and then we'll come back. Let's listen to Randy Daniels.
Boy, nice division. It's been really competitive in every one of these classes. Starting with that first one, and we cheated a little bit and made those others kind of get out in front of us to give her a chance to get out and go, so we could see that she can get out and travel. Lots to like about her. So long-bodied and good-necked and good-lined. Just a lot to like. Real well-balanced, middle of the road. Heifer that wins the second class again that I just see has been extra feminine and real trouble-free from a structure standpoint. Just love the kind of the heifer that wins the third class. You know, that's one I just like them with that much rib and that much center body. Still one that the angles are right to let her just get out and float when she goes. Just lots to like about her. And then it's the massive one that wins that last class. That's maybe a little more heifer than I'm comfortable with, maybe a little more condition than I'm comfortable with, but no doubt she is stout and she is powerful. I think you get to this point for me when I head home tomorrow and you start reflecting on the show, you just have to do what makes you feel good. And I always think, well, that's the one. If I can just pick the one and say, I'm going to take this one home and put her in my replacements, it's going to be the young lady right in front of me. Congratulations to you.
All right, your grand champion bred and owned percentage heifer came out of South Dakota and is exhibited by Tally Heim of Wessington Springs, South Dakota, with a fitting name, Val Miss Fancy, and sired by Mr. McCook's Load. She's a February 5th born heifer. Pulling in, that was second in that class, was Kayla Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota. Here's for your reserve grand champion heifer now. Randy will give a few more comments. Oh, he didn't go tough.
Reserve.
All right, reserve in that division is Kayla Schaefer from Deluxe, North Dakota. And so now we'll select, we're going to go 10 deep here, it looks like. So we'll have 10 overall heifers in this class, or in this division. Looks like he's going to go out of your second class, and that was Whitney Olson from Alexandria, Minnesota. She'll be third overall. Pulling in now is Kennedy Eflin out of that second class in contention. I think he fourth overall is going to be that heifer out of our first class, Shelby Greiman from Goodell, Iowa. And Lucas Wisniewski from Wyoming, Illinois will be pulling in for contention in your 5th overall heifer now. Again, we're going to select a top 10 in this division. Lucas Wisniewski, he will be your 5th overall heifer from Wyoming, Illinois. Now, Judge Randy Dangel will be selecting your 6th overall heifer. At 6th overall, and still have 4 contestants out there from all 4 classes so far still. There you go. Carson Finch will be 6th overall out of that senior yearling class. Ryan Blagg, he will be coming in for contention in 7th overall. Going to use the Effling heifer, Kennedy Effling, out of class 12, your March-born class. She'll be 7th overall. Now I'll be selecting 8th. 8th overall heifer. That is
should be the Wisconsin heifer, I believe.
Anna Doyle, entry 511 from Wapaka, Wisconsin. Now we're going for 9th overall here.
Looks like the Blagg son is going to be
9th. And his 10th overall heifer, I do believe, is
552. Should be Bailey Peterson
from Gibbon, Minnesota.
Yep. Well, Dustin, that's a nice set of heifers. Bred and owned division. That's a really neat set of percentage heifers. I'll tell you, if you think that's easy making them bred and owns, go ahead and try it, because I'll tell you what, hats off to them young people for doing a really good job, and to bring a set of heifers up here like that. That always meant a lot to our family. The bred and owned division did. Whenever you can take a female and mate her different ways and be able to get different progeny out of her and stuff like that, and I tell you what, it's really, really neat to see these young people come out and do such a good job with those cattle.
Yep. One interesting thing that we haven't really talked about is that I really think is really enjoyable in the Simmental thing is that they make these kids. We do come here for a cattle show, but they also make these kids participate in a lot of the different contests, and then you can go for an overall points winner, and that's kind of why they do go so deep in these divisions is everybody's added up on points and get to go in. You got to make them compete in team sales and showmanship, quiz bowl, and public speaking, and as well as showing their calf. But even if you don't bring a calf, you can still come and participate and be involved.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, Lori and I have talked about this many a time, how we've seen young people through this program blossom and turn into some really fine young adults, and continue to breed Simmental cattle. and continue to do a really good job of marketing. And you could walk through the barn out there today, and I could give you so many different names of adults that are now starting to have kids that are doing a great job, and they may have picked up a job working for a major corporation, and still their ties are still to the Seminole roots that they've grew up in. And I'll tell you what, that's a real special deal. 30%, they said 30% of the Seminole kids that have come through this program go back and continue to raise Seminole cattle, and that's a pretty high average.
That is good average.
Really high average. So I know we'll have Lori come talk here after bed about the foundation, what it means to her and her board about what's going on there, raising. They're going to give scholarships out there at the end of January in Louisville at the Junior National. And I tell you what, when we get people to donate to that foundation to make sure that these kids have them scholarships, it's always important. And it's fun to work for them, because when you get young people when you see them 1 year and how they change to the next year and get better and be able to not be afraid to talk in public or to give you a reason why or anything like that, that's really neat. So.
Yeah.
Good program. It's a great program.
Well, I think them public speakings, it makes them have to, if they want to compete, bring their calf along. I think they have to participate in a couple other contests. You just can't bring your calf, and that's all you do. And so it makes them get outside of their comfort zone, and I think that's what these junior programs are about. And I know. It definitely, growing up in the Angus Junior program, it helped me, and with my current job, having to be in front of people and talking and all that behind the microphone, and it's definitely whether, like you said, whether you go home to the farm and just raise cattle, or you go work for a feed company or a semen company or a breed association or whatever. This junior program lays the ground floor for a lot of different things.
You bet. Well, folks, we're going to take a break. It's 10:30. They're taking pictures of those champion bred and owned percentage heifers. We'll be back with you here in about 5 or 10 minutes. Just kind of keep checking. We'll be back here in just a few minutes on the percentage heifer show. Looks like a really, really good set of females coming there. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 classes of those percentage heifers. And I'll tell you what, it'll make for a good show. I'm just going through the program. I thought we implemented that these bred and owned should go back and show in the percentage, but it doesn't look like it. These bred and owned heifers are done, looks like, for today. They will not compete in the percentage show, so it's a new group of heifers that are going to be running at them here, and it'll be interesting to see them. So we'll be back here in a few minutes. Okay, folks, looks like we're getting ready to start here. Class number 15. These are percentage heifers now. This is percentage owned heifers coming, class number 15. Dustin, I don't remember how you said that last name.
Salvetti, I think. Is
All right, she's from Minnesota.
Lewiston, Minnesota. Heifer sired by Hooks Baltic. I think she might have been on the side of cow-calf pair we had earlier here today, I think.
Right. You're exactly right.
So, heifer that got some pretty good growth numbers to her, and nice end of February calf. Janae's doing a really nice job with her. She's starting our owned percentage heifers here today. So what'd you say? We have 11, 12 classes at the
10 classes up.
10 classes. So these will be some interesting. We'll get into some darn nice percentage heifers here now. So.
We'll see what Randy's going to do here, if he's going to talk about this heifer or what he's going to do.
I'm Darla.
Dustin. Nice to meet you. Vermilion, South Dakota. Yep. Yeah. Oh, I think so. Go Jets.
I was going to say, go Jets.
Yep.
Looks like Randy's going to just take a look at the paperwork here, and he's going to talk about them. He's going to talk about them now.
Maybe single entry in this first own percentage class. You know, the first thing you see, I got this color-coded sheet, is how balanced she is in terms of numbers, and they're really good numbers. So that's something that adds value to the cattle. Nice heifer. You know, she'll get a little overpowered by some big, stout, classy ones as we get on into the show. But a nice way to start. Congratulations to you.
Placing first in class 15.
All right, folks, Bennett Savia was the winner in that class, and we're going to see the second class now. Class 16 percentage heifers come in, and this will be Nolan Hackett, Relay Hackett, Carson Finch, and Casley Kobish from Minnesota. There's 4 in this class. These are fall heifer calves in this class, and it's a really nice set of them. Folks, I've got our new director of our youth at the AJSA and part of the foundation, Darla Agutter. Darla, welcome to the Simmental Breed.
Good morning, Val. Thank you.
It's exciting to have you aboard with us, and it's exciting to be able to see the progress already. The great comments that people have said about how the show is going and how things are going for you folks. Just give us a little insight how things transaction for you and how things are going.
This has been a great week here in North Dakota. We have had great weather, which has really helped as well. I have really been excited and great to get to know the kids and get through my first regional here and kind of know what to expect with all the contests and now with the cattle show as well. I have really enjoyed these kids. I tell you what, they are prompt at every contest. They're excited to be here, and so I'm excited to get to know them all as well.
It's kind of get thrown in the fire and then get after things, but it's kind of exciting to see. It's a new breath of fresh air. It's a new breath of fresh air for all the Simmental people to have someone young and that knows what the junior program is all about. And it's exciting, and we're looking for great things down the road. One thing that I'll ask you is that coming up through the breeds of that cattle that you have and your family have come up through, what are some goals that you want to see here for the Simmental kids?
I have actually grown up in the Angus business as well, growing up when with my father, and then now also in a purebred shorthorn business as well with my husband and my son. Some of the goals that I'd really like to see, and I think that we're really kind of getting there already, is growing this junior program in the Simmental breed. I see a lot of excitement with these kids. I see a lot of future here. And I do believe that we will get there and we will be one of the top breeds here real shortly.
I believe that too. I believe that we have all the potential in the world with a number of kids that we can touch, and to let them do the fun things and let them make the decisions with the guidance of our adult system, of growing this program. And just like Dustin and I was talking earlier about the bull division, bringing it in, let these juniors do what they want to do. We're going to break, and we're going to listen to Randy Daniels on this class of fall heifers.
Win this class, I think, obviously for me, those that have some extra rib and body are always appealing to me, but you get the one that's the longest striding and the freest moving one to go with that. Still, not just freak necked, but I think as much body as she's got, it just gives you a real broody look as we study her from the side. Congratulations to you. I don't have any numbers to work with on the heifer that comes second. She said that they were delayed, and they just got them this morning, so I didn't have access to them. But I think no matter what, this is kind of where this heifer was going to wind up. She doesn't like to be here too much, and she thrashes her tail with that. They always get a little awkward in the way they go behind. But I think the way that she's made, that her angles are right, and she's the soundest of the three that we've got left. Nice heifer and a good job. The next heifer's real long-bodied, just beautiful up through her front end. You've done a good job as far as getting her ready and presented. She's a little off as you study her at her front end as she comes towards you. She's a little out. I guess for me, I'd like to give her just a little softer kind of a look with a little more body, but no doubt beautiful in terms of her profile. And then the heifer that we close with just gets a little outperformed. That's not really the reason she's going to be down so much, as she's just right now she's wanting to get right up on her toe. Not moving well enough behind for me to justify having her up. Sure like the heifer that we lead the class with.
Result.
All right, in that class there, Class 16, that was fall heifer calves. Class winner Carson Finch from Iowa. Second was Riley Hackett. Third was Kesley Kronbush from Minnesota. And Nolan Hackett was fourth in that class. That was your fall percentage heifers, October heifer calves. And November. So now we're going into Class 17 percentage heifers. These are 1 June and the rest are May heifers coming in here. Madison Krause from Minnesota is coming in the ring. Brandon Peterson is going to be coming in second. Third, Austin Rose. We have Zoe Ford is going to be coming in here. And Logan Foster, and coming in and up in the class here, Jeannie Doherty from Clearwater, Minnesota. These are June and May percentage owned heifers in this division. I'm back with Darla Egeter, our director of youth here for American Junior Simmental Association. And Darla, we were talking about growth. One of the goals that you have is growth in this breed for these young people. And your family has been very successful with your son. And I think, what has your family learned from the junior program?
Well, just like I was just telling you a little earlier, Val, how I was so impressed with this Bred known division at a regional classic. To me, that is the growth. That is where we need to be. And my family and I, we do truly believe in the Bred known program. And it was very impressive to me to see that here today. So I think that that's where families need to develop and grow their breeds, because their children are our future of our industry.
Very much. Very much, and we always say that. It's every topic, every day in our office. Lori and I talk about the youth is where we've got to take care of, because if we don't have a breed of cattle.
That's exactly correct.
And I'll tell you what, coming from where you've worked with the Hereford people, you've worked really closely with the Shorthorn people and the Angus people, and you've seen a lot of different things. I know there's lots of people looking for new, innovative ideas from you in this, and I think it's great that we have you on board. One thing that we always think that we take great pride in, being in this thing for 32 years, what we have been, is that the program that's implemented, that they've got to go through the judging contest, they got to go through public speaking, they got to give sales talk, they got to do a cattleman's quiz. That's all learning, and it makes these kids even blossom more.
That is correct, Val. I tell you, I would probably be the first one to say, you know, when I thought, oh man, these kids got to do 4 out of the 5 contests. And being here for my first regional now, I was impressed, and I am truly 100%, I'm a believer of it already. It was fun to see these kids. They're excited to do it, and I truly think that the educational contest is what blossoms these kids, and it's something that they take home and they will learn and they will use in their adult life. And I would say that is probably something that I wished I would have had growing up as well, that it was kind of a you had to do it type of program.
Just on a quick note, a couple of things that are coming up. Southern Regional is on right now?
No, next week we have our Eastern Regional in Lewisburg, West Virginia, and then also we have our South Central Regional in Stillwater, Oklahoma next week, and then the last week of June we round out our Western Regional in Logan, Utah.
Okay, then we're on to Louisville.
Yes, we are.
End of July. We're looking for, it's going to be a great show. How many head entered?
We have 863 head entered.
Super duper. And how many kids?
We have 450 exhibitors.
Wow, that's cool. 450 exhibitors.
Yes. Very exciting.
Yep, that is. That's really neat.
Yep. And I think we're looking for a great week that week and doing it alongside with the sweepstakes. I think we will have a fun, good week there. Yep.
Well, Darla, it's so good to have you on board. It's great to see you here and seeing all the great comments that the people have made already, the new changes and implements that you've done with just your knowledge of being with so many different breeds and stuff like that, and be able to take this breed to a new level. If there's anything we can do, to be sure to give us a call or at Eberspacher Enterprises. And I know if there's anybody out there that if you have a specific idea,
I would love to hear from them.
Exactly. Email Darla on this junior program.
Absolutely.
She's phone's always on. And
it's always on.
And the computer's always ready to be answered.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you and Lori being supportive, and I wish everybody the best of luck today and throughout our regionals here in the next couple weeks, and also looking forward to meeting each and every one of you again in Louisville, Kentucky this summer.
People don't know this, but Darla lives in the same county I grew up in, Nebraska right now. So.
Yep, that is correct.
All right.
So,
Very
all right.
Good. Thank you, Darla.
Thank you, guys.
Well, folks, we're back into the show here. Randy is facing class number 17, and he's talking. We're going to listen to him talk about this class.
I think part of that is just there's so much diversity of kind that we have in here. I think again, kind of like when we were picking the champion heifer a while ago, you just had to find your comfort zone and say, this is what suits me. And I think this Baldy heifer, yes, she's not nearly the highest performing heifer that we've got in the group. But I think when you just study her from the ground up, she's the best footed. She's got the best angles. She moves the best. She balances the best. I like a lot of things about your heifer, so congratulations to you. You know, from there, it's harder. I thought on the move, well, that's the trouble-free one that we've got in the group. The heifer that stands third is the one that just jumps out at you when she stands. But she's got some issues with her feet and the way that she goes, so it makes it tougher. I've tied this red heifer in behind the Baldy that we started with just simply because I think she's one that can still get out and go. I like the shape of her foot. She's a little coarser right through her front end, especially than the heifer that we have just in front of her. But I think she's most like that baldy heifer, and those are the two that need to stay up. No doubt the biggest, stoutest, biggest rib, boldest one that we've got in the group is the heifer that comes third. You get right on top of her, you watch the way that she handles herself off of both ends of her skeleton, and then the size and shape of her foot, and that's just a little bit of a concern for me. So for me, problems kind of end up third. Lots to like about her. The heifer, the branded heifer that comes next, no doubt she's long-bodied, she's lean-made, she's long-necked, she's sounder moving than the heifer that we have just in front of her, just a little bigger, a little rawer in terms of type and kind. And then the two young men that we have down here, those cattle just weren't moving quite as well, didn't balance quite as well, didn't have quite as much body. I like the baldy heifer that we lead off with. Nice class.
Results in Class 17, percentage heifer.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with Class 17 results. First place was Madison Kraus from Pine Island, Minnesota, with a heifer sired by ESDB10. And second was Austin Rose from Chamberlain, South Dakota. Third was Jenna Dougherty from Clearwater, Minnesota. Fourth, Zoe Ford from Bruce, South Dakota. Fifth, Logan Foster from Clark, South Dakota. And sixth, Brennan Peterson from Gibbon, Minnesota. Now I'll move on to class number 18. These heifers were born in April of 2018 and have entries from Harley Heim, Washington Springs, South Dakota, Tristan Hagelin from Peterson, Minnesota, Nicholas Roseman from Oronoka, Minnesota, Riley Schaeffler from Grand Meadow, Minnesota, Fletcher Hennessy from Des Lacs, North Dakota, Wyatt James from Bruce, South Dakota, and Connor Johnson from Arlington, Minnesota. So we've got 7 entries in this class, it looks like, and of this class of April-born heifers. Heifers in this class are Loaded Up, Payload, United, Conversation, Silvera's Style, Better Believe It, and Odyssey. So 7 heifers, 7 different sires, and I tell you what, another nice set of April-born percentage heifers in your own heifer show.
Really nice set of them. It'll be interesting to see what he comes up with in this class. It's tell you what, that last class was interesting, and here we go into this young April set of heifers, and
you bet.
Just talking with our director of youth, Darla Aguilar. She seems to be awful excited about what's going on for these young people, and I tell you what, I think she's going to take this junior program to a whole new level.
Oh yeah,
here in the Simmental breed.
I think the Simmental folks, I don't think he just hit a home run with that one. I think he probably hit the grand slam, and I tell you what, she's going to have you guys whipping and spurring, and going to have a lot of neat ideas, and being around junior programs her whole life and be involved with junior activities, and I tell you what, she's a go-getter, it looks like.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
I asked her what one of her goals were, and she said it's to grow this junior program, and to like this bred and own thing. She said that's what it's all about too, is having this bred and own division to where you can make these young people learn, and she's awful excited also about all the other contests, the public speaking, and she said that's where this is 100% where these kids really blossom.
Yep. It gets, like we talked earlier, it gets them out of their comfort zone and gets them interacting with some other kids, and I tell you what, gets them interacting with kids just not from their home school district, but or not only their home county, and not only from their home state, but kids from all over the Midwest and all over the country. So it looks like we're getting harassed by a few of our sideline people. Better turn your phone on, big boy. So I tell you what, we got an awesome crowd here for being way up north in the state of North Dakota. They welcomed everybody with open arms, great hospitality, great facility, great set of cattle, and more importantly, just good fellowship between all kinds of Simmental breeders from all over the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly right. Yep.
Tell you, he looks like he's got them head to tail now along the rail here, and we're going to start finding out which ones that Randy likes the best here.
This is class number 18, younger April heifers. What he's going to be looking at here.
Yeah, we're getting into them classes where we're splitting months, and I tell you what, the heat is on in this percentage show. So,
got some sponsors that popped up. Darnell Klein Simmental Ranch in Darcy. They 38th annual sale, Turtle Lake, North Dakota, February the 1st, 2020. 50 bulls and 20 females. Darnell and Darcy have been really, really good supporters of the Simmental breed here in North Dakota, and they really support these juniors a lot too. And real tribute to them for many years of having a production sale. And I'll tell you what, if you ever been out to their ranch, Rolling Hills, and it's a big stout country up there.
This will be my first year that I get to work for Darnell.
Oh, is that right?
Sell his sale, and like we said earlier, he's been having it in town, and this year he's going to move it home to the ranch.
Well, good.
He told me last spring, he goes, I don't need a bull this year, but he goes, I'm still going to go to a lot of bull sales, and I'm not bull shopping, I'm shed shopping. So
Lazy Sea Diamond, Chris Nicholson and his family. Annual production sale Wednesday, February the 5th, 2020. Chris doing a great job in raising really high quality Simmental genetics that got really good numbers. And I'll tell you what, just a real tribute to that family of taking and really putting some time and thought into those cattle and to making them as good as possible. And I'll tell you, he's done a good job. Like I said earlier today, I did see the Impact Bull that they did see that they sold there in their sale there earlier this spring to Paul Rydeen, the Impact Bull. Really an impressive individual. Next sponsor that popped up there, Power by Design sale, the Quantz brothers and Jason Thompson. These guys have got a really good sale. Dustin, I know you get to sell that sale, and just a top-notch quality set of bulls and that offering there. These guys do a great job, and like I said, if you have not received a catalog from these guys, be sure to email them or call them, or be sure to get a catalog on these sales coming up this next year. You'll enjoy looking at them, and you just never know when the right genetic package comes along that you might want them.
You bet.
We're working on class number 18. This is late April heifers coming to you. These heifers are sure some awfully nice ones in here. We'll see what Randy ends up doing with this class. Another sponsor that popped up, Bailey Livestock. Scott and Joey Bailey, they do a great job here in North Dakota. Of course, they was lucky enough to be the breeder of the champion female, purebred female, that won Junior National in Minneapolis last year. Looks like Randy's pretty much done with this class. He's going to let them pull in and talk about them here. And I tell you what, nice set of April heifers. Like you said, Dustin, heat is on. You better be ready, because he's not going to look too many times. He's kind of gets what he wants and he kind of moves on and
That first impression is everything.
yep, looks like he's going to talk about him.
Good classic. Big differences as far as kind in the class. You know, the heifer that wins a class to me, kind of like the heifer that won a while ago in the bred and owned part. I just like that kind. This one's not as flawless in terms of her foot shape and the way she comes at you as that one was, but to me, there's a lot of similarities in her. I was picking on this guy about the clip job on that one. That's kind of my style. I was judging the steers at Houston, and I made some smart aleck comment like that, and that kid's daddy didn't like me doing that. So this guy's got a big smile on his face, and I said I thought I could have done that, but this is kind of my style. But your heifer doesn't need a lot of hair. You know, that's one that's, again, that big rib, bold one that's got so much rib, yet she's still relatively lean. I just like her kind, like the way their neck comes out of the top of her shoulder. I like her when you get her out on the move. You kind of need to trim her front feet, and you know that as well as I do. But a good one to anchor too. The heifer that comes second, no doubt she gets outperformed by that one that we have up front. But I think you just start picking the fall free ones, and there again, she's one of those. Probably better in terms of just the shape of her front foot and the heifer that wins. Really long body, really good neck, and you're really good with a stick too. So congratulations to you. Like the heifer that comes third. She's carrying a little more condition with that, pushing up a little more brisket, a little more chest. But like a lot of things about her, I like the fact that she's relatively moderate, still big ribbed, maybe carrying a little more condition than would be ideal. The next one's just a little too straight for me, and you start trying to pick the ones that are just a little longer strided, a little stouter made, and I think this one kind of fits fourth. He gets her stopped and set up. She's so good lined, so good necked, but you get her out on the move is where she kind of loses some ground to me. Still a good heifer that follows next. Maybe just a little piece here in the way that she's put together, but those are some nice heifers that we have in front of her. Good heifers as we get on down into the class. This one gets just a nickel straighter up front. That one probably gives up just a little extra grow to those that we have in front. Good class.
All right, results of Class 18. First place went to Nicholas Rossman from Orinoco, Minnesota, with a heifer sired by WC United. Second went to Harley Heim from Wessington Springs, South Dakota, sired by Loaded Up. Third place went to Riley Schaffler of Grand Meadow, Minnesota, with a heifer sired by Conversation. Fourth to Fletcher Hennessy of Deluxe, North Dakota, with the heifer inspired by Silvera Style. Fifth to Wyatt James from Bruce, South Dakota. Sixth to Connor Johnson from Arlington, Minnesota. And seventh to Tristan Hagelin of Peterson, Minnesota. Now we'll move on to Class 19. These heifers were born in early April of 2018. Annalise Lampke from Gaysville, Wisconsin. Jackson Deckert from Arena, North Dakota. Sam Ho from Willow Lake, South Dakota. Taylor Miller from Mandam, North Dakota. Haley Anderson from Milner, North Dakota. And Keegan Eckert of Farmersburg, Iowa. And Sawyer Naz of Platte, South Dakota. There are 7 heifers in this class of early April-born heifers. Heifers in this class are sired by Boone Pickens, Red Oak, Jazz on the Mark, VCL Equity, Broker, BC Lookout, and KMJ Repeat. So 7 heifers in this early-born April 2018 owned percentage heifers here in Fargo, North Dakota.
Really nice set of them again, Dustin. Here's a set of heifers here. I'll tell you what, just a few days makes a little difference in age and how their maturity pattern is going and stuff like that. And I tell you, when you get into, like I said a little while ago in that last class, if you don't think it's the heat's turned up, you better get ready because here's the opportunity where you either ready or you kind of get left behind because it's awfully good.
Yep.
Competition's awfully good.
You bet. When you get on these regional shows and the national shows, that first impression is everything when you hit the tan bark. And I tell you, it's not that Randy is going overly fast this morning, but
Nope.
I tell you, he's got a nice pace, but a pace where he's still. We've touched on it numerous times. He's taken the time to describe the cattle on his reasons after he's placed them. You know exactly what he's thinking, but more importantly, he's taken some time with the juniors and telling them, hey, why don't you do this? It'll make your heifer look a little better. It'll make her reach out and
Right.
walk a little smoother. And there's not a lot of judges that take that extra time, and that's where these junior shows like this just really flourish.
Right, exactly. Got a sponsor that come up to Kenner Semitol, Roger and Erica Kenner, 24th annual production sale here coming up in Leeds, North Dakota. They've got a great set of cattle. They've been breeding cattle for a long time. Roger was the president of the board of trustees a few years ago, and then Erica's just finishing up her third or second term, I guess I should say, as on the trustees. So they've been through all the trustee work and have gotten to have a lot of input on the Semitol breed, what's going on up there, and they've done a nice job. And they invite you to go up and see their nice facility up there at Leeds and their development center that they are developing those cattle on. A great set of genetics that they always put out every year. Another one that's come up here are Wilkinson Farm Semitol. They're 22nd annual, 22nd or 23rd annual. February the 12th, 2020 at their farm, breeding genetics for the future, and they've had a lot of good bulls that have been in the sire summary and been across and used and widely in this breed. WC Beef Maker, Beef King, Prime Beef, All Aboard, Proclaimed, High Stakes, All In, and Red Moon. All them bulls heavily used through the breed, and a real tribute to Terry and his family there. Slinker, they're doing a great job of raising cattle. And thank them for their sponsorship here today. And I tell you what, North Dakota's strong with Semitol breeders, and they're doing a real nice job.
And a set of breeders that really give back to not only the state association, but more importantly this junior association. That if you had a chance to see the actual program that you have here today, not only the sponsors that you're reading off here on the internet, but it takes a lot of sponsors to make a show like this go, and the North Dakota and surrounding associations have really stepped forward.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely. It takes a bunch of sponsorship, and I'll tell you what, they've done a nice job this year, and like I said, we've heard nothing but great comments. We're on to class number 19. These are the early April heifers. Folks, I hope you're enjoying it there, watching the show. Beautiful day in Fargo, North Dakota, and so far what we've seen, it's been a really good show.
Randy's got them head to tail, of course, and going around picking out which ones he likes the best. And you could see talking with that young lady, telling her how to maybe tweak how she's setting that heifer up, just a nickel and look at that. Got her to tweak just a little bit there, and she was going to walk to the front of the line. I think that is 503, if I remember right. 538.
538 it is.
Taylor Miller from right here in North Dakota, Mandam, North Dakota. Heifer sired by VCL LKC Equity 608D. So, boy, that's a
Stout heifer.
stout heifer, big old volume. April-born heifer. Pulling them out, getting its top picks a little closer together so you can evaluate them a little bit more. I think that's the kid in the cowboy hat, 525. That's Sam Hove from Willow Lake, South Dakota, with his heifer sired by Jass on the mark.
Yep.
The loaded up son. Boy, those two are about like peas in a pod.
Yes, they are. Look awfully nice.
Tell you, we thought we had a good crowd when we were in that steer and bull show, but now that we're in this heifer show, granted we got some bigger classes, but there is just a humongous crowd sitting around here, not only in the stands watching the show, but in the makeup area as helping their junior members out, as well as just standing around ringside. How fitting last night, Discover the Thunder is our theme up here, and last night as I was pulling off of I-29, got on 994, it was a thundering and lightning like no tomorrow. So yeah, so I tell you, the show committee they picked the right theme.
I just didn't realize auctioneer that can run in the back of one of his buddies is thunder coming into town.
Right, yep, exactly. I did have the misfortune of doing that. But,
did you ever trade?
I did. I traded up.
Did you?
Insurance gave me a little money to buy a new car. So. Broad part of it was my buddy, he had to keep his same car. I didn't hit him hard enough, I guess. So I asked him if he wanted me to do it again. He didn't think that was such a good idea. So back to the business at hand here. Entry 110, Keegan Eckhart just got pulled in with her heifer sired by BC Lookout. Sawyer Naz behind her. Getting them head to tail, getting them how he likes them, and get them to walk one last time here, and then
like he's going to take another final look at him on the move. He likes to see him move, which we all do, and it is an impressive set of heifers in this class. This is the older April heifers, class number 19, if you are following along.
Yep. Going across your screen right now, kid in cowboy hat is Sam Hove, Willow Lake, South Dakota. Then 110 is Keegan Eckhart from Iowa. Sawyer Naz from Platte, South Dakota. Looks like 533 is maybe going to move up a bump. Annalise Lampke from Gaysville, Wisconsin. We're right in I guess you could say we're right in the heart of this division, Val, in this April-born division. It got one class of Marches, one class of Januaries, and one class of or Februaries and Januaries coming up, or two classes of Januaries. But this April division, these next classes are anything alike. We're going to have a darn nice show.
Yes, it is. It's going to be real nice. And you can imagine Chris Ford knocking down the fence right there.
Yep. I think it was his boy.
Oh.
Taking one last spin here and getting them all lined up how Randy sees fitting. Starting to pull them across. Maybe got to make them walk one more time as we get into some of these bigger classes and some of these classes that where the heat is on. I'd say these they'll start walking them a few more times. That some of our sponsors that are popping up, Ellingson Simmentals, Terry Ellingson and his family from East North Dakota have a bull sale the last Friday in January. A big old stout set of purebred and commercial oriented bulls that if you're looking to and sell a really nice set of females, Terry and his family do. This year was like a lot of sales in January and February. It was mighty cold that day, but I tell you, it was Terry and his family had a nice day inside the sale barn, and really a good set of cattle. Kenner Simmentals, Roger Kenner and his family have a bull sale there at their ranch in Leeds, North Dakota. Just thank them for always being very supportive of not only the juniors here in North Dakota, but also the Juniors Association, the National Junior Show as well. So, again, this is Class 19, your beginning of April born 2018 heifers. Randy is just finishing up placing his heifers, and here's Randy for his comments.
Apologize that this guy's got this baldy heifer that ends up second. I was sometimes I locked in on these up here, and to be honest, I just missed her. But to me, I'd rather confess and say I just missed her than to watch her go out of here down 3 or 4 more spots, and then it's legal or official. I like the heifer that wins this class. I like that young lady. Man, she can show, and she's a competitor, and she came charging in this ring with that heifer that's so well fed and fitted and presented, that it's kind of hard to get around that when you got a really good heifer, you got a really good way with her, and I think she just pretty handily wins the class for me. Structure movement is everything for me when you get into this arena, and we'll talk about the heifer that comes third here in just a second, but that's why this baldy heifer just kept moving up to me as we walk. And yeah, she wants to fight that halter a little bit, and sometimes they get off a little bit. But I think the two that can really get out and go that we have in the class are the heifer that's up front and this heifer that ends up being second. This one's got a real broody maternal kind of a look, and I don't know why that I pulled her so low to start with, but I've already apologized, so we won't do that again. The heifer that comes third, I really like that heifer, and I like her kind, and I asked that young man to ease up on her head and drop it a little bit, and let's see if that heifer doesn't move a little better. You can watch as well as I do that she sets her rear foot outside of her body wall, and she kind of spraddles as she goes away from you. Just love her kind. Just love that feminine, broody look. I love her through her forerib and her chest, and her depth through her center body, and it's all the way back through her rear rib, and just has such a maternal look. But she's just got to move better than that to end up in the top 2. I like the heifer that follows her, and she probably moves a little better than the heifer that we have just in front of her. Doesn't have that grab-you look to her that we've got in that third place heifer, but still just a real middle-of-the-road good kind that comes next. Good heifers as we get on out into the class. The heifer the young lady's got now that makes a turn a little shorter and thicker in her neck, a little coarser and bolder in her shoulder than would be ideal for me, but still one that can get out and go. Up-headed one that just needs a little more body, and kind of the same thing with the heifer that we close with. Good class. Let's give them a big round of applause. I hadn't been a very good cheerleader.
Results in Class 19, percentage heifers born April of 18.
Here we go on Class 19. There's your results. First place, Taylor Miller from Mandam, North Dakota. Second place, Jackson Deckert from Arena, North Dakota. Third place, Sam Hove, Willow Lake, South Dakota. Fourth place, Keegan Eckert of Farmersburg, Iowa. Fifth place, Annalise Lampke from Gaysville, Wisconsin. And sixth place, Sawyer Naz from Platte, South Dakota. And seventh, Haley Anderson of Milner, North Dakota. Now I'll move on to class number 20. This is your March-born class of heifers, percentage heifers. In this class, we have entries from Kinsley Altina from George, Iowa, Taylor Harriman from Parker, South Dakota, Courtney Allen from Eota, Minnesota, Hannah Tremaine from Okanaka, Wisconsin, Corey Kirsten from Gretna, Nebraska, Elizabeth Albright from Howard, South Dakota, Jaslyn Hilbrins from Holloway, Minnesota, Annalise Lemke from Galesburg, Wisconsin, Cody Larson from White, South Dakota, Bailey McKenna from Sioux City, Iowa, Weston Hawkins from Lowry, Minnesota, and Alyssa Anderson from Galena, Illinois. This is your class 20 March. This is our only class of March heifers in our percentage show. Big class of March heifers, and as we have a big class like this, I'd like to welcome Lori Eberspacher here this morning, and she's with the ASA Foundation. And Lori, welcome to Fargo, North Dakota. And I tell you, what's new with the foundation?
Well, I am fortunate enough to be the chairperson of our foundation this year. I've been on the board for 9 years, and we, as a foundation, have a lot of different divisions that we support, and one of our biggest division is our youth and our merit program. And so the AJSA program is very near and dear to our heart, and especially to our family, because we raised our daughter up through this program.
You bet.
And just understand the leadership and the importance that this program gives to our youth. So from the foundation side, as far as our Gold and Silver Merit Awards, each year in Denver we have had breeders that have donated heifer or genetics from their program, and over the past 22 years we've raised over $430,000 for our Gold and Silver Merits. So this year at Louisville, at the National Banquet, we will be awarding $40,000 worth of scholarships. And so one of the goals for the foundation, and I have a wonderful, hardworking board with me right now, is that we would like to see that program expand. Mm-hmm. We'd also like to see our research and development education areas expand, and it just takes involvement from all the breeders. And so, sometimes people think one person can't make a difference, but the way our program in Denver started out is we had a very dynamic AJSA president that consigned a heifer to our Denver sale and gave a proceeds of that heifer to the AJSA and the foundation, and that's how the $430,000 started. Yeah, so one person can make a difference.
Yep, you betcha. Well, the foundation, it's not only just scholarships, but like you said, research and development and numerous things throughout the breed that can help promote the youth, but also promote the breed and everything. So what you touched on the merit awards. I think they're a gold, silver, and bronze. And
correct.
Mm-hmm. And
and part of watching all these children grow as we travel across the country and have sales, prime example is this last fall, a gentleman came up to me at a sale we had in Indiana and said, my children are grown and they have successful careers in the world of agriculture, but that never would have happened without the AJSA program.
Exactly.
And we hear that all the time. And so when you talk about making the children do all the different public speaking and that kind of thing, Amanda had a very successful AJSA career, not only in the show ring but also in all the other contests. When she was a peewee, was just little, she had to give her public speaking, and she was so nervous to do this. Mm-hmm. She gave the history of the Simmental breed in 35 seconds. Came out of that room just power charged. She was so proud of herself.
Yep.
And then went on to win that division I don't know how many times. So it has to start somewhere.
Exactly. Yep. Well, like we've talked, events like this just bring kids out of their shell, and you never know where the road might lead them, but it's because of a foundation and because of efforts like yourselves that it just helps spur the success of all these junior members. Who are some of the members that are on your foundation
Well,
board?
if I start listing them, I'm going to forget someone.
There
right?
you go.
So just go to the website.
There you go.
There's 12 of us. The other thing that I'd like to emphasize is the fact that the friendships that they make will last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So when Mark and Amanda got married, 4 out of her 5 bridesmaids were girls that she met through the AJSA program.
Mm-hmm.
And have kept that friendship.
Right.
And those things you just can't put a price on.
No, exactly. So, yeah, this the Simmental, the junior shows, as well as all the Simmental events, are special events to your guys' family, like you said, bringing Amanda up through this and through your guys' sale management program, get to visit with a lot of different breeders, and the foundation is just a key. People might not think about the foundation day in, day out, but a lot of things that you see day to day are because of foundation and because of donations that, like you say, started out by one person and just blossom year in, year out.
Exactly. And come August, we have a fall focus program that the foundation sponsors, and it's education and then working with the Kansas Simmental Association, and it moves from state to state each year. But that's another thing that the foundation is actively involved in, is on those education parts of things, as well as the merit of the youth.
You bet. In this big class of March-born percentage heifers that Randy has had him take a couple laps here, and he has so he can get a good view of them on the move.